Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
How are you?
I'm
Good morning, Jenny. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
How was your weekend?
It was great.
Good job.
Did some skiing. Good time. That's it.
Tell me when.
How was your weekend?
You know, it was this good. How about them Cowboys? Yeah. Finally.
Yeah, finally.
Ask the question.
Okay.
Here
That's all we
go.
need. Got it out
How
of the
are
way.
you?
We're good.
Let's do
You know,
this.
you look almost as good today as my Cowboys looked yesterday.
Whatever.
I like
Whatever.
that.
That's
That's
good.
sharp.
We have a
Short-lived.
packed show on this
Enjoy
Monday to get
today.
through. How impressive was the Patriots' 34-13 win over the Bengals? And do the Eagles have a shot at stealing the division from the Cowboys? But first, we'll talk about those Cowboys who finally got that win yesterday. Dallas ran all over the Rams on their way to a 44-21 victory. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard both had over 115 yards on the ground, which is the first time the Cowboys have ever had two players do that in the same game. Dak Prescott had an efficient 212 yards and 2 touchdowns through the air. The Cowboys defense stifled the Rams, who only managed 22 yards on the ground. The win marks the first time the Cowboys have beaten a team with a winning record this season. They got it done. Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impressive was this win for the Cowboys?
I gave them a 9 because of the team that they beat. The Rams had been playing very, very well. And to do what they did against that ball club, it was very impressive, especially defensively. Defensively, the Rams have been playing better. We'll get to the offensive side of the football in a minute. But defensively, I thought they had started to play really, really well. And the Cowboys came out, and like you said, Jenny, this was the first time in the history of the Cowboys organization they've had 2 guys to go over 100 yards in the same game. But it goes back to something
Over 150.
150.
Even more, yeah.
What goes back to something I've been preaching, and a lot of people have been preaching. It was their commitment to run the football.
Yep.
This is what they are. This is why they got Ezekiel Elliott. This is why they pay those high-dollar offensive linemen that money. Not to pass block, to run block. They broke the Rams' will. The same way, the same Rams that broke their will last year, Skip, you remember in the playoff game, when they ran for 273 in a playoff game, the Cowboys enacted revenge. They got their revenge back. They got their get back. And they dominated this game. This is what we know about the Cowboys. The Cowboys are a front-running team. Okay, they score. The Rams come back and make it 7-7. And the Cowboys score again. And when the Rams were unable to score, when the Cowboys got that ball and they marched 97 yards and put that ball in the end zone, that was the end of it. Because it was like, we can't do anything. We can't stop them from running. We can't generate enough pressure on Dak to cause him to be uncomfortable. And the Cowboys just ran away with the ball game from that point. That is the formula for the Cowboys to enjoy success. Okay. Zeke 1, Dak 2. And when they did what you said efficient, and that's what he was. He was very efficient. 15 of 23, 212, 2 touchdowns. When you can have a clean pocket and you can run the ball, I keep telling Skip Bayless, there's nothing wrong with Ezekiel Elliott. He's 2 yards right behind being the 4th leading rusher. Now, I don't know if he's going to be able to.
He's led the league in rushing 3 straight years. Go ahead.
Unless you're Jim Brown, who can only say, I led the league in rushing every year I was in the NFL except one. Nobody else. There are a lot of Hall of Fame backs.
Sure.
Tony Dorsett, Franco Harris, Eric Dickerson, Earl Campbell. None of them led the league in rushing every single year. So this notion that Skip Bayless says, because Zeke Elliott is not leading the league in rushing, he's a different guy, is being disingenuous. He's not a different guy.
Disingenuous?
Yes.
Being honest.
How about this? It's a flat-out lie.
Yeah. Well, now you're calling me a liar? I think it's my turn to go now.
No, it's my turn.
Well, I'm going to
still
jump
speaking.
in.
No, you're not going to jump in.
I'm a liar about Zeke? And what have you seen from Zeke the whole year that looked like that? What game the whole year did you see look like that?
Did you see him against
Call me a liar?
Did you see Eagles?
He's gone 5 straight games without getting 100 yards. Are you kidding me?
Are you going to be finished?
Well, you can't call me a liar before you're finished.
Because Skip Bayless wants you to think that Zeke Elliott must run for 100 yards every game, lead the league, or he's not valuable.
How about 5 straight without 100?
Skip, this happened.
Lord have
So let me ask you a question.
On my
so, let me
soul.
so just make sure I'm hearing you correctly.
Yeah.
Emmitt Smith has never had 5 games in which he's not rushed for 100 yards.
This is about Ezekiel Elliott, who led the league in rushing his first 3 years in a row and has not looked the same all year until game number 14.
What did it look like against the Eagles?
Yeah.
What did it look like against the Eagles?
Just okay. Not like Zeke.
Skip, he had 22 for $111.
Yeah, guess who the other guy was? That guy you call Mike Pollard? Did you see a burst? Now that's a burst. That's what you call breakaway burst. Do you see that from Zeke this year? You do not.
Skip, Zeke is
He's
never
running in Cabo sand.
Skip, let me ask you.
He got mad yesterday. He ran with a vengeance. He ran angry yesterday for the first time all year.
Okay.
Thank you, Zeke.
Skip. Name the time in the NFL, with the exception of the first 8 games of his career in the NFL, Zeke has shown you burst. He's shown you breakaway. He's shown you Christian McCaffrey. He's shown you Saquon Barkley.
Rookie year, a whole lot.
Skip, he had 5.
Second year, a whole lot.
No, he didn't.
No, he did.
No, he did not. No, he did not, Skip. He had 5 his rookie year, and he's had 4 runs of that length since then.
Did you see him at the Ohio State?
Skip, we're not talking about college. I said the NFL.
We are. Yeah, we're talking about burst that you see with your own 2 eyes.
I said in the
we're
NFL.
Talking about 4.40 at the combine.
Yeah, go ahead.
You see 4.4?
Go ahead.
No, you called me a liar. It's your turn. Go.
No, go ahead. No, you want to.
I was good. I was going to sit over and wait.
I said you're being disingenuous if you're saying Ezekiel Elliott is not a dominant back. He's 2 yards from being the 4th leading rusher in the NFL. I don't believe he'll catch Chubb. I don't believe he'll catch Derrick Henry. But he can finish as high as 3rd. But you say he gonna rush for 1,400 yards, and you're gonna say the guy's a bum.
I didn't say he was a bum. He's just not the same. Hasn't been until yesterday. That was the guy. Hadn't seen him all year. Thank you. Welcome back.
I've having played 14 years, having studied the game a lot, I've never seen a guy be great every single game. From Lawrence Taylor to Tom Brady to anybody. You're not great every game. It's a body of work, and his body of work says he's still a great back.
Well, having learned the game from Bill Walsh and Tom Landry and Don Shula, and I could go on, my eye test has been telling me all year, not the same. Got paid and was overpaid. That's what I've told you from the start. You say I'm lying about that? I'll take anything but call me disingenuous, which means I'm evading the truth.
So let me ask you a question. Was Don Shula, was Jimmy Johnson, was Bill Walsh, were they great coaches every single game?
Well, obviously not.
Okay,
it's not
then.
the same guy. What do you mean, okay, then? That's just a silly question.
No, it's not, Skip.
Yeah, they were always pretty great.
No.
Yeah.
No, they weren't. No, they were not, Skip. All I'm saying is that Ezekiel Elliott, Skip, is still a great back. He might not rush for 150 yards.
I hope he is.
But you look at his body of work, it says that he is.
What else do you want to say?
I want you to go ahead.
Okay, my turn. On the impressive scale of 1 to 10 yesterday, I give my team a flat-out 10. And if I could give them an 11, I'd give them an 11. Because I was pleasantly shocked by what I saw yesterday. It was a sight for the sorest eyes, because speaking of eye tests, my eyes have been aching all year, all too long. And yesterday, I'll just show you how I felt at the end of that game yesterday. If we could see this video, it's actually a video of Jerry's box. And this is how I felt at the end of the game yesterday. If we could, maybe we don't have this. Oh, there it is. Yeah, thank you. That's how I felt. I was by myself in my room high-fiving myself. That's what I felt like at the end of the game yesterday, because it had been so long since I saw any of that.
Let that sink in. You celebrating your 7-7. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you thought they just won the Super Bowl. Let that sink in.
I think it's my turn. Okay. I think I was talking.
Okay.
You gave the floor up to me. And the point was, I was obviously not celebrating winning the NFC East. That is to be won next Sunday in Philadelphia. Correct. And I've told you all year very long, I believe my team is better than the Eagles and will beat the Eagles. We'll talk about that in a moment. I was just celebrating yesterday the 44-21 fact that my team finally played up to the way I know they are capable of playing. That's what I've been saying all year. I wasn't impressed with what they did to the Eagles at Jerry World back in October, because the Eagles aren't very good. This was the first time they looked like a team that wasn't a bunch of Overpaid, overrated, underachievers. That yesterday looked like a team that has more Pro Bowlers, now and former, than any other team in the NFL. Dallas has 15 Pro Bowlers on that roster who are current or former Pro Bowl players. Right. Nobody has 15 on their roster, but had we seen that all year long? Finally, we saw that yesterday. And what did I tell you was happening all week long last week? I said, finally, they're getting their noses rubbed in it to the point that they're going to be externally motivated. What I always tell you about Coach Clapp, he was great yesterday because he just kept clapping.
How much credit he get for that?
Butt slapping, clapping, and butt slapping. He gets no credit because he did exactly what he's done all year long.
Exactly.
And he needed external motivation. And how did he get it? Because I told you all week, the point spread was plunging. They opened as a 3.5 favorite at home over the Rams, and the bettors said, not on our watch are we going to do this, because we're watching a bad football team. And it had been a bad football team. And so they bet it, and they bet it, and they bet it, and it was a historic drop in a point spread from 3.5 all the way to Cowboys are a 2-point underdog at home. They're a 2-point dog. Are you kidding me? And it got their noses rubbed in the fact that, they had missed an NFL season high 19 tackles on that Thursday night at Chicago. And they got their noses rubbed in it that their coach was the lamest duck who ever waddled to a football game. So all of a sudden they got shamed into, okay, now it's time. And they came out against a talented, as you point out, hot football team that had wiped out Arizona at Arizona, the same Arizona that did beat the Browns yesterday to win their 4th game of the year under Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury, and with 1 tie. So they've got 4 wins and a tie. So again, to go in there and just blow them out 34-7, that was impressive. But more impressive was the previous Sunday night. The Rams, had dominated the Seattle Seahawks, who now have the number 1 seed in the whole NFC. What do we go? So that team, for once, my offensive line, what I always tell you, overpaid, that just, they get their golden tails handed to them every week. They finally came out and dominated both with the run block and the pass block. And my Cowboy defense finally came out and took a stand against a team that humiliated them out here in that playoff game. As you pointed out, 273 rush yards, including 170 in the first half. They got blown off the field. It wound up 30-22, but it was embarrassing for that franchise that you'd give up that many to C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley. So only Todd is left, obviously. So yesterday, Todd Gurley managed 20 yards on 11 carries. Way to go, defense. You are capable of doing that. Front is stout when it decides to come to play. And the Rams wound up with 22 total rush yards.
That's not good. Whoa. 14 carries.
On 14, are you kidding me? And finally, and once again, the defense rose up, and I told you on Friday, to me, this game boiled down to Dak Prescott versus Jared Goff. And my defense made Jared Goff look what he always looks like. He's just pretty sorry. He's pretty ordinary. He's pretty average unless his play caller, his puppet master, is hot. And lately, his puppet master can't seem to find the right call.
But if you notice, Skip, it kind of switched. Because when Jared Goff can get Todd Gurley running and C.J. Anderson rolling, look how he made Dak Prescott look. So now all of a sudden you say for the first time your team looked like the team that you thought they could be all along. What transpired yesterday, Skip? They ran the football.
Well, you missed a key point here. What transpired at Chicago to my quarterback? As Troy Aikman pointed out, I think he actually broke the news yesterday on the broadcast on Fox. Dak Prescott played yesterday with a fractured index finger. He said it was a hairline fracture, but it's his index finger in his throwing hand, hairline fracture. Can't feel great. He came out with tape on it, and he finally just chucked the tape in the first quarter and said, nope, I'm not going to do it. He also got his left wrist hurt. So he was on the injury report. I told you this on Friday all week. Left wrist and index finger. It is fractured.
He got a frog hair fracture in his index finger. People didn't even know frogs had hair, Jenny. That's how fine the fracture it is. Stop this notion.
Ever tried to throw a football with that?
Stop. No. We're not going to do this.
Think that felt
we're not
pleasant?
No, Skip. We're not going to do this.
Yes, we're going to do it.
We're not going to do that.
Because it's a dead solid fact.
No.
My quarterback, as usual, gutted it up, sucked it up, and inspired the whole football team by going out there and playing his tail off. And by the way, if we could just look at the comparisons here, my quarterback was obviously taken in the 4th round, 134 picks in the same draft after the Rams traded up to number 1 in the draft to take Jared Goff.
Okay.
So 134 picks later, they got a quarterback who has met Jared Goff head-to-head 3 times now. And what did I tell you Friday?
What's the record?
What has happened? Here are the QBRs for these 3 games. It's my turn, I think. The QBRs are, my quarterback went 81, 84, and yesterday 84 again. Jared Goff in the 3 games went 46, 57, and yesterday 37. So yesterday it was 84 to 37. The 3-game average is 83 for my quarterback, 47 for Jared Goff. My quarterback has almost doubled Jared Goff in QBR 3 times.
What is the
outplayed him dramatically? I don't care.
Oh, I'm
just talking about. I told you the essence of this game is my quarterback.
Is winning and losing.
84 is a really good QBR.
Essence is winning and losing. Skip. Professional sports. It's about wins and losses.
No,
all these numbers are all. Hold on.
Well, if my defense allows 273 rush yards, they're going to lose. And if my defense blows a halftime lead in the 2017 game, they're going to lose. But this was not my defense hung in there the whole game.
Hold on. Time out.
Thank you.
Hold on. Just a second, please. Bear with me. Now you keep complaining about your defense gave up 273 last year, and they lost the game. Jared Goff's defense gave up 263. But you're blaming this on Jared Goff. You didn't put none of that on Dak Prescott last year.
Sorry. His body language is sorry. He's uninspirational. He's not a leader. My quarterback, you could see from the first play of the game when he actually was allowed to run the football and set the tone. What set the tone for the whole game? What did you see Clay Matthews doing the whole game? He was guarding against the zone read keeper. He just kept playing outside. He's going to keep it. Because the first play of the game, my quarterback, as I pounded this desk to do, kept the football for 7 yards, and here we went. They didn't let him run with it much more the rest of the game, but he can gash you because he is a playmaker. And that Tavon Austin play where he dodged Dante Fowler, it's hard to get my quarterback on the ground. It's why you couldn't sack him yesterday. And that brings me to Zeke. Again, Zeke had his breakout game of the year. I told you, he willed himself through no holes in the defense. He carried the pile just by sheer leg drive, body lean, and I loved it. But you want to talk about thunder and all of a sudden lightning? The guy you called Mike Pollard back in camp is extraordinary. He's got a huge burst that Zeke doesn't have, and all of a sudden we've got as good a 1-2 punch as anybody in this league has outside of Lamar and Ingram and Baltimore.
But here's the thing, Skip. Zeke has never shown that burst in the NFL like you thought that he had in Ohio State.
Okay. Well, I saw it his rookie year a lot. And I saw it a little bit yesterday. If you can get him completely open in the open field, he caught 3 balls for, 43 yards, and he had 1 26-yard catch and run, which is good. That's the only way you can get him loose because he can't make you miss at the line of scrimmage like Tony Pollard can.
They're different runners.
Tony Pollard's really good.
Yeah, he should. But let me ask you a question. Do you believe Tony Pollard, okay, you lost Zeke. You believe Tony Pollard could carry the load?
No, I told you this is the best 1-2. He's a great
Right.
2. He's the lightning to the thunder. You need the thunder. Everybody needs the thunder. Tom Brady, we're going to talk about him in a little bit. He needed some thunder yesterday to try to get them back on track. Nobody can do it all alone with no run game.
And guess what? The Saints are finding that out. Without Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara hasn't been nearly as effective as he was with Mark Ingram in the lineup.
Right.
But Skip, if you're going to tell me if the Dallas Cowboys are going to go for 400-plus yards, what do they have? 475 total yards, 263 rushing. They were 54% on third down, 1 for 1 on fourth down. 36 minutes time of possession. Yes, if you're going to tell me they're going to give me that every game, they will win the Super Bowl.
Well, they got a shot. I give them a good shot, actually.
Yeah, it is flu season. That's the only shot they get.
Took off yesterday. They
Whatever.
Right on schedule. So the other stat that was interesting from the broadcast, and I had not locked in on this one.
What?
My Dallas Cowboys are at the very bottom of the NFL in field position, where they have started their drives from. So that helped explain to me, I had not fixated on that stat, but that helped explain why they're number one in yards gained in the whole league, but they had fallen to 9th in points scored. Well, that's in large part because the defense is so bad, they keep getting punted into jail. So if you start from your 3-yard line, it's hard to go score. You might get a bunch of yards. You might get 60 yards in that drive, and it'll add to your big total for the year.
Things,
but you can't score because after a while, if you keep going 3rd and 5, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7, one of those you're going to misfire and you're not going to make the first down. So what happened yesterday? They get pushed back to their 13-yard line in the first drive, terrible as usual, and they had to punt. Second time, they get pushed back to their 10-yard line, and here came the Dak attack. 90 yards in 15 plays. And then here came the Rams against my defense, and it didn't look very good in the first drive of the Rams. And this has been the MO of the whole year. The rival goes right down and scores, the opposition. So it's 7-7. This is where my offense has gone cold at this point. Instead,
against Buffalo.
Against everybody. Name it. It's always like this. We saw
Chicago.
Chicago, same one. 7-0, then 7-7, and then cold, and then 14-7, 21-7, rival team, right? So in this case, instead of going cold on the next drive, my quarterback made the play of the game to me that turned the tide in the game. He avoided the sack of Dante Fowler and made a cross-field throw to Tavon, who obviously the Rams ran together, and he was wide open. In fact, I saw a stat. He was the most open receiver this whole year in the NFL. I think it was 17 yards of separation. And that flipped their switch somehow.
That broke the game open.
It broke the game open because the next Cowboy drive, started at the 3-yard line, and it goes 97 yards in 14 plays for the 21-7 touchdown, which ignited all that high-fiving up in Jerry's box because that pretty much drove the final nail in that coffin. And on that drive, guess what? It was actually a second stringer's drive because guess who made the 2 big catches on the drive? Shannon Jarwin. Blake Jarwin. He made 2. They get stuck at 3rd and 4 from their own 9-yard line. It's a pretty key down. This is the one they've been missing all year.
Skip, he's explosive.
And he hit him for 20 yards because Dak calls him maybe the best athlete on the team.
Skip, if you just watch the way he catches the ball and the way he maneuvers, I mean, he's catching what we call drag routes, which is 2 yards, and he's getting 8. He's getting 12, 14 yards. That's what...
Jason Witten can't do that. Jason Witten made an unbelievable one-hand snag. He just doesn't do that. But in general, to your point, he's going to catch 3-yard passes, and it's going to go nowhere else.
It's going to be 3 yards.
Right? It's 3 yards. But Blake Jarwin, when he catches one up the boundary, he gets loose.
And because the thing is, Skip, he gets so much separation to begin with.
He does.
So he's able to catch the ball and turn and run. Because Jason can't get that separation anymore, wherever he catches it, now he's really sure-handed, but wherever he catches it, that's where he's going to be.
And then he had another 20-yard catch in that drive. And then the backup, Tony Pollard, comes in and gets loose for 25 yards. So you're doing it with the second string guys. And finally, it gets down to a 4th and 1. Dak sneaks. And then they gave it to Zeke 3 straight times for 3 yards, 1 yard, 1 yard, touchdown, 21-7, basically game over. So what if I told you going into this game that my 3 starting receivers would each catch 1 ball for not very much yards? What if I told you Amari, Gallup, and Randall Cobb each caught 1 ball in this game? Because that's all they caught was 1 ball. What would you have told me?
Well, I wasn't going to be surprised because you knew Jalen Ramsey was going to shadow Coop.
So that took him out of the game, basically. He did catch 1 ball in the first drive that was impressive, and it was just because Dak got outside the pocket and fired it over the middle, and he just sat down like in a broken route. Okay, so that was it. That was his whole contribution for the whole day. And yet, it didn't matter because Blake Jarwin contributed. Jason Witten contributed. Zeke caught 3 passes. So they mixed it up, and obviously between Zeke and Tony Pollard, they dominated the clock. And it was the first time all year that they dominated time of possession.
They didn't really need to catch anything.
If you got to catch some.
But Skip, if you let a team run the ball like this and can control the clock like they did, you're going to lose. I mean, you give up 263 and you carried the ball for 22 yards? Man,
you're gonna lose.
You're losing.
So
you losing.
My final point is the man you have occasionally often called the best player in all of football is Aaron Donald.
Yep.
And every time he plays against Dallas, it's been 4 total times, but 3 times against Dak's team, I just can't find him in the game. And
what did he do yesterday?
He did not much yesterday. So he had 3 total tackles. 1 was a solo tackle, and he had no sacks. So in 4 games against the Dallas Cowboys in his career, he has 8 total tackles and 0 sacks, and he has hit the quarterback only 2 times, and both came in that 2017 game at Jerry World. So that's it. So in 3 of 4 games, he has not touched the quarterback. And I can't see him. I get it.
They do a number. They do a very good job.
They do a job on him. Because 99, like I have always told you, number 56 was Lawrence Taylor. And every game I ever watched Lawrence Taylor, I said, wow, they can't block him. 3 guys can't keep him from the quarterback.
But see, that's why when we have the discussion about who's best player, that's why we talk about LT, we set LT to a side by himself. We don't put nobody in that category.
Nobody.
He deserves to be by himself.
No, I got it. But 99 for the Rams, I just don't see enough of it.
Yeah. Well, that was a game that, he needed to show yesterday.
Yeah.
No mercy.
Fox Sports' very own Jay Glazer revealed exclusive footage of the Patriots production crew being confronted by Bengals security after being caught filming the sidelines last week. In the video, the Patriots videographer said he was unaware of the rule against recording the sideline and offered to delete the footage several times. Bengals security could be heard chuckling and saying that the damage had already been done. A supervising producer with Kraft Sports and Entertainment released a statement that said he had no intentions to provide any of the footage to the Patriots football operations. So, Shannon, what is your reaction to this video?
Confirm what I thought to be true all along. And the Bengals guy asked all the right questions. As I asked last week, I asked Skip last week, Skip, where is the advanced scout in this footage? That's what the Bengals guy says. Okay, I understand that you're doing this, but where is this advanced scout? He's filming him as he's filming the sideline. If the Bengals guy does not interject, how long do we think this goes on? I don't think it stops at 8 minutes. I think it only stops after 8 minutes. Once the Bengals guy says, I've seen enough. I know what you're doing here. The video focuses on the sideline, which is more than what you can gather from the coach's tape. And this is all I need to know. If the advanced scout okay, he's shooting this. I just need to know, does the advanced scout looks at this tape, gets his information and gives it back to the football operations side? If that's the case, we have what we had in the beginning, Spygate 2. It's hard for me to believe because the advanced scout works for football. Now, all of a sudden, he's doing a job that has no football relation to the matter. I just can't understand this because they say this is Kraft Productions. This Kraft don't care nothing about do your job. When you do this, when you film that sideline, there are only a handful of people that's going to benefit from that. Because my notion is that advanced scouts, you don't really want to tell them what you actually do. You're going to say, hey, he would be sitting up here right now. He'd be watching the Cincinnati Bengals. He'd be watching defensive fronts. He'd be watching secondary. And what he's trying to do is trying to deduce what's going on. If the Patriots, when Cleveland got into this formation, this was the front, this was the defense. But when you have that video, it's kind of like what got the Houston Astros. MLB says, we don't got a problem with you stealing signs. That goes back 150 years since baseball was introduced. But when you use video equipment to aid you in doing this, this is where we have a problem. The NFL says, we don't care. Look, people are going to steal signals, people are going to steal whatever. But we just don't want you using video to aid you in this process. Skip, the NFL took their time when they did Bountygate. Spent lots and lots of money. Now, I heard Jay Glazer, he said they're looking to wrap this up quickly.
Yep.
See, my thing is the moment that the NFL security, when they got wind of this, when that Bengals guy called NFL security, they should have done what the FBI did. They should immediately dispense NFL personnel to the Patriots headquarters to make sure There are no tapes that are erased. It's hard for me to believe that this is the first time that they've done this. They've just done it under a different guise, because in the beginning, Jenny, they were brazen enough to do it straight from the field, even though the NFL told them not to. Now they do it under the guise, we're doing copy, we're doing pieces that show do your job. This is what I thought it was going to be, and Coach Belichick should be gone at the bare minimum for 1 year, and they should pay a $10 million fine.
At one point last week, you said he should be fired.
He should be fired.
Given his track record.
Yeah, he should be. But at the bare minimum, he got to get what Sean Payton got for Bountygate. That's at the bare minimum. Firing should be to prove, let him know that this will not be tolerated. Because clearly, he didn't learn anything from his first.
Okay. So I would first like to applaud Jay Glazer for acquiring this video and this audio.
Well done.
Very impressive. But for me, this is my 2 cents from where I sit, this video and audio was no more incriminating than what we already knew, because I learned nothing new from it above and beyond what had already been reported about the incident in question already. It just confirmed that all the reports were dead solid on with all their inside reporting. So to me, and again, I'm in a tricky position here because I've condemned Bill Belichick for so much else that he has done, but in this case, I stand by what I thought, which is this is completely innocent. So all we had here was a videographer who had never, according to the Patriots, been assigned to go on the road before, unwittingly, unknowingly, sort of accidentally violating a league rule that I think is a silly rule, because the way he was violating it was to shoot down at the Bengals sideline from behind. So help me out here. If you shoot straight down from the press box at the backs of the coaches who are signaling, how could you glean exactly what they were signaling? Because you can't see it. Their backs are covering the signals because you're shooting it from behind. So they're signaling out on the field here. Well, there's no way you could actually see what the signals are shooting straight down from the press box.
Skip, it doesn't matter. The NFL says you can't do it. Why are you trying to deduce where they can't do anything with it?
But just for the record, Spygate was about the Patriots shooting at field level from their sideline across the field at Eric Mangini's Jets coaches, so you can full on see all the signals and you can just videotape them and take it in at halftime and decipher and marry it up.
Well, Skip, a lot of times when people, first of all, let's be real, when people do hand signals, they're not doing them like this here. They're holding their hands up and doing it.
But there's too much here that you can't see. You couldn't get it exactly
then why are they doing it? Why did they do it?
Because he was doing it's as they said it was. It's a piece called Do Your Job on an advanced scout, and they were showing his vantage point because he's sitting up there trying to do the best he can.
We know his vantage point.
Yeah.
Skip, you don't have to do that. You can tell. What he does is he sits up in the press box behind the opposing team's sideline, and what he's trying to deduce is that he's looking at the defensive backfield. He's trying to understand the fronts and what they're doing and the formation.
And the personnel groups. He's trying to chart the personnel groups in and out.
So
he's frantically taking notes as it's unfolding.
So let me ask you a question. Guess what would aid that, Jenny? If I got a TV, if I got a copy, if I'm filming the backside of the coaches, because all I need is that. See, I'm not worried about the signals. All I'm doing now is I'm getting the groupings.
Okay, and but you can get that with your eye test, right? What's the advantage of this video tape? What's the advantage? I don't see any advantage. I get it's a rule. I told you it's a silly rule because it covers all sorts of videotaping, but the Spygate was from the opposing sideline.
Skip, if you think that man has that kind of recall, that he can remember, okay, they played this is the backfield, this is the front, and this is the personnel groupings. What you're doing when you have copy, take it from a guy that studied 14 years of NFL film. Skip, if film did not help, why the hell we do it so much?
Because you're trying to do plays, not signals.
Skip,
you're looking at the plays.
Skip, trust me. What you try to do, Skip, is that when you look at...
Were you trying to steal signals looking at the game tape?
No, Skip. I'm listening to verbiage. I'm not paying attention. I let Mike, them, and whomever else is trying to deduce what's going on. But I'm trying to hear verbiage. I'm trying to hear when we go up there and win and they yell certain things. And I always go back to 1996. We were playing the San Diego Chargers. They were in San Diego, and Junior Seau, rest his soul. Every time we motion to a front, We had no idea they would do this, but Junior Seau would say Vegas or Reno.
Okay.
And every time they did that, they went to cover 2. Now, we didn't have this in the entire week. I said, Mike, when we motion to this formation, every time you do it, Junior Seau says Vegas or Reno, I can beat him down the hole. Well, guess what at the end of the game, Jenny? 13 for $156 and 3 touchdowns later. We were down 17-0. We come back and win the game 27-17.
So how did you know that? From the audio, so it was electronically taped.
No, Skip.
Right?
But I'm saying, for me in the game is verbiage. Had Mike and them known through signals, we would have never gotten in that hole because we would have known beforehand.
So you were stealing their signals off the audio of the game tape you were studying?
No. I got it from in the game. Actual game. We're actually in the game.
I'm saying, but it's game tape, but you're using an electronically taped audio to steal signals.
No, Skip. I was not Skip. I'm in the game. I'm in my stance. When TD motion, I would hear Junior say Vegas or Reno. I'm not. But yes, yes. Quarterbacks do use game top.
You can
copy
hear it
because they got the mic.
Should that be illegal? Because you're stealing signals off the game tape.
Skip.
That's the same thing as this is.
Skip, if you want to get the game copy and if you can deduce that, but you don't get the sideline version of it, Skip. If they were doing nothing wrong, why did they do it?
Because you need B-roll from the scout's vantage point up on the second row of the press box. This is what he's seeing. It makes total sense. It's completely innocent. It's innocent as charged.
Let me tell you something. I was a criminal justice major, and the one thing the judge will always instruct the jury is you're allowed to use common sense. Now, Skip Bayless and others that want to be supportive of this regime that's been caught cheating is to say, well, you couldn't do anything and you can get it from point A to point B. But here's the fact of the matter is, Skip Bayless, advanced scouts work for the football department. Now, it's hard for me to believe that the advanced scout is not going to see the footage and not going to take that information back to Coach Belichick.
I just think it's useless information. B-roll video from up in the press box, what can you glean from it? Not much, if anything. There's no audio to it.
Skip, is that when you watch game tape, there's no audio. Why the hell you think I watch football now with no sound? Because I've been conditioned for 14 years not to hear the sound. That's why it doesn't matter to me what they say. I know what I'm looking for. It doesn't make sense to the average lay person. But I guarantee you, to the coaches, it makes 1,000%.
Okay. Don't accuse me of trying to support Bill Belichick. No one has been hard. I've been way harder on Bill Belichick than you ever thought about being. In my career. I'm the one calling for his job back when it mattered, when he really cheated in Spygate or taping walkthroughs before Super Bowls.
So the question goes...
Or bugging locker rooms or jamming sideline signals.
This goes to this. During that footage, do you believe that the advanced scout would have looked at that footage that videographer recorded? Do you believe he would have seen the footage?
I don't think it'd be irrelevant to him. He just watched with his eyes. What is there to glean? I'm telling you, shooting it from the back, you got to shoot it from field level. Or let me read this from the Boston Globe. One source, this is a New England source, was adamant that Belichick would not risk his legacy in a possible suspension over something as trivial as filming the Bengals sideline, which can easily be done from the stands. That's what I told you last week. Just buy a ticket and take your iPhone in there and shoot it. You can. iPhones are great. That's quality video. And then the Boston Globe goes on to say there was nothing covert about this incident, said the source, who then went on to say, you would not go in wearing a Bruin shirt, put a camera on a tripod in the press box, and hope nobody notices. I told you last week, that's a Saturday Night Live skit to me. It's laughable because it was innocent. He's filming a piece on the advanced scout.
So why is it when someone comes to, and we got this in 2015, that says if you're caught doing something, just say you work with Kraft Productions and you're doing a piece. The very thing that this guy said, that this source is a Patriots guy. Why would you think he would say, well, Bill Belichick, because why would Bill Belichick risk his legacy doing what he did in Spygate? Why would he risk his legacy?
Because he'd gotten away with it for so long.
Exactly.
But that was Again, that's field level videotaping of defensive signals. This is from the press box,
Skip.
from the behind.
Skip, there's a lot of things. People always ask the question, he didn't have to do it. He didn't have to steal that, Jenny. He didn't have to do that. But people
They're not stealing anything. There's nothing to be gained from this tape.
Why do it?
Because you need B-roll for a piece called Do Your Job. This is the vantage point. This is what the scout is
8
looking
minutes
down
of that.
on. Well, yeah, you need. Let me
ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you believe if the Bengals guy had not interjected, would he have just gotten 8 minutes? Yes or no?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
You've had pieces done on you where they shot 45 minutes of B-roll-ish video and they used 30 seconds of it. I know I have several times.
Yes. But not in a situation, Skip. Yes, they might be doing a feature on me and they might do things, but they don't pick up calls of John Elway in the huddle, even if I'm Mike. How many players Mike? But how many times do you hear them make a call? Because that will be replayed. Those are plays that players use, that teams use, Skip. Okay. Everybody knows, Skip. Use common sense. You don't have to be a Harvard-educated lawyer. You don't have to go to the John Jay School of Law. Yeah. Just use common sense.
I agree. Common sense would tell you this was completely innocent for once.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
And he has been suspended, the videographer.
Why?
Because you have to. You got to show. They're going to get fined for their reputation.
Jenny, an honest mistake.
Yeah.
When the producer's been fired. Like a long-time employee.
Did he get fired? No, he got suspended.
No, I'm saying the producer.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd been fired.
I
think the videographer had been suspended, and then they released the statement saying that it was a mistake, but that they were.
So what happened to the producer?
I'm not sure about the producer.
The producer now, a long-time employee.
Should know better.
Anybody that works for a Patriots organization should know about what? Video and sidelines. If you work in that department, you should know.
And there should have been, obviously, rules set in place as to what you can do and can't do in terms of shooting. But
there was.
Well done, Jay, though, getting the video. I think it does provide a different perspective to this in a lot of ways.
No mercy.
The Cowboys did get the win, but now they've got a big one next week. According to Fox Bet, the Cowboys are 2.5-point favorites against the Bengals when they travel to Philly on Sunday. Both teams are 7-7, and both are also coming off wins this past weekend. So, Shannon, are you surprised by this point spread?
No, I'm not. Eagles have been decimated by injuries. They're hanging on by a thread. Their two leading receivers yesterday were on the practice squad at the start of the season. Greg Ward, who skipped Bayless, he loved to talk about Jacoby Myers, who was a quarterback in college, who transitioned to wide receiver. He was their leading receiver yesterday. He caught the game-winning touchdown. He was the leading receiver. He played big. The guy had already been cut and released twice this year, just this year alone. Also, Boston Scott had another 7 catches who played big for him yesterday. So, no, I am not surprised. What I am surprised by is how pathetic the Eagles' defense is. This is ridiculous. I mean, Skip, you saw Haskins look like he should have been Rookie of the Year the way he was going up and down the field against that defense. Carson Wentz is doing and I'm looking at him like, bruh, you need game-winning drives to come back against the Giants on a Monday night. You need a game-winning drive to come back against Washington. That's what you need? And I'm like, wow. So, no, I am not surprised. The injuries are starting to take their toll offensively, but that has no excuse with the defense. The defense is terrible. The secondary is terrible. Nobody has lived up. Skip, we keep talking about, you're looking for Aaron Donald. Fletcher Cox had not lived up. Graham and Barnett, none of those guys. Curry, none of those guys. Malcolm Jenkins, none of those guys on that side of the football have lived up to the hype and the expectations that I'm sure that they set for themselves, and that me as I set for them, knowing what they are. So I'm not surprised that the Cowboys are a 3-point favorite. I'm going to be shocked if it doesn't move the other way, if it doesn't even go even higher.
Really?
Yes.
So I was surprised and I was a little disappointed because I always tell you my team needs external motivation because my coach cannot provide it from within. Coach clap, coach butt slap. That's what he is, and he does that great, but that's about all. So I was hoping that the Eagles would open as at least a 3-point home favorite, and it did not happen. So I don't have that to fuel the fire going to Philadelphia. But I've told you all year, I believe my team is just better than the Eagles. It has been in bursts all year. I respect the Eagles. I think they do have potential firepower in that front seven and also in Carson Wentz and the receivers he does have and the backs that he has right now. They can score and they can shut you down on occasion. But in the end, I believe my team should, can, will win this game. And yet, in the end, you talk about Greg Ward Jr. Do I fear him? Yeah, I do. I liked him in college. He was really good. I don't know if you ever saw him at University of Houston.
He was great. He was very good at quarterback.
Really good.
Yeah.
In fact, he came out of the state of Texas. You realize he was the Texas State High School Player of the Year? That's a big state with great high school football.
That's saying something.
And he was a running and throwing quarterback, high football IQ. And I really enjoyed watching him at the University of Houston. And in their championship game when he was a junior in that American Athletic Conference championship game, he was the MVP of that game. And then he went to the Peach Bowl, and against Florida State, he was the offensive player of the game. The point is he's got skills.
Right.
And I think Carson Wentz is starting to vibe with him and connect with him because he has a quarterback's mind in a receiver's body.
Okay. But Skip, it says something. Anytime a guy, you talk about a guy that the likelihood of Greg Ward ever playing receiver in his life, and this is why you have to give guys like Julian Edelman a whole lot of credit. Skip, you play a position your entire life, and then all of a sudden you get to the highest level, and they say, you know, we want you to make a switch. And not only do you make the switch, and you start to thrive and succeed at that.
Greg Ward did play some receiver at Houston, so he was kind of going back and forth. But to your point, he's about Julian's size.
Yes.
They're about the same size, and they're quicker than they're fast. Right. And he's been on and off the Eagles practice squad, and he finally got his chance, and he's shining.
Yes.
And so is Boston Scott. I've liked him. He reminds me of little Edwards-Helaire for LSU, and they're both from Baton Rouge. So they've got two new pops that they can go to, and yet in the end, I look at what they just did, and we talk about the Giants game. It was embarrassing because the Giants were ahead 17-3 at halftime, and it took the Eagles just scratching and clawing, get back into the game to go to overtime.
And the Giants just hung 40 on a team that beat the Eagles 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so again, did I like Carson Wentz in the last drive against the Giants and over? Yes, I did. Did I like him in the last drive yesterday against Washington? I thought he was really good. And he threw a couple of balls that were just like take your breath away balls. He is capable of doing that, but their team hasn't taken off because yesterday, I'm looking at these scores, Washington was up 14-10 at halftime. Washington was up 21-17 at the end of the third quarter, going early in the fourth quarter. Washington was up 27-24 with 4:52 left in the game, and they have to keep coming back to beat what you would call bad football teams, right? Yeah. Okay, so again, if you want to talk about jump start, rocket launch, motivation, what my team did yesterday against a team that you readily acknowledge was on a roll, hot, a really good team, a team much better than the Giants or the Redskins. My team is roaring toward Philadelphia with more momentum to me than the Eagles gained from winning those two games. They did win, and I give them that. And I think Carson Wentz is getting some of his confidence back. But overall, team to team, my team is better. So right now, the early wagers are saying my team is better.
But Skip, I'm looking at you. Just look at this, Skip. They had 27 first down to Washington, to Washington's 19. Skip, they had more time of possession than your Cowboys had against the Rams.
They did.
And the Cowboys had the ball basically the entire game. And you look at this, they were 11 of 16 on third down.
They were one more minute, 37-23.
Skip, and they had 11 of 16 on third down.
Pretty good.
And it went down to
went to the end.
Right. And now we're going to look at the score, Skip. I mean, Haskins tried to throw the ball away and somebody get a scoop.
Scoop and scoop.
Right. But it wasn't that. That just lets you know just how, I mean, if I were to put if someone has told you, this team is 11 of 16 on third down, and they possessed the ball for 37 minutes, you're like, oh, they got 40 plus, easy. They blew that team out. Skip, it came down to the last drive for the Eagles, and you throwing it to a guy, I guarantee you, Yes, Boston Scott is playing well. Greg Ward Jr. is playing well. But if you'd asked Dougie P at the beginning of the season what contributions you think you're going to get these guys, well, we hope they're great practice squad, show team guys for it. Not contributing heavy minutes. Not we're going to be counting on those guys because you thought that was going to be Alshon. You thought that was going to be D-Jack.
That's true.
And this is what you got right now. So, Skip, I am not surprised in the least that the Cowboys, I'm going to be shocked if it doesn't move to 3.5 or 4 by the end of the week.
Okay. And my final point about your quarterback, Carson Wentz, is he fumbled 3 more times yesterday, and they were fortunate. They recovered 2 of them.
2, yeah.
They lost 1, but he fumbled 3 more times. One thing my quarterback has done that you got to give him credit for this year, he used to be fumble struck last year. He used to be a sack fumble waiting to happen. Dak Prescott was last year.
Right.
He's fumbled 1 time this year, so he has cleaned up his act. Carson Wentz has not cleaned up his act.
Carson does not understand, Skip, that when you're in the pocket, when you put that ball like this here, them guys coming to get it.
Well, listen, I got 3 guys who are coming to get it.
If you look at Brady, the one thing I will credit Brady for, you might get the ball, but it's always this.
2 hands.
It's always that. But you look at Wentz, how he has the ball. What do you think those guys are going to do? They're going to get it.
Trying to throw a home run is what he's trying to do.
Well, it's hard to throw a home run when you don't have the ball in your hand.
that is true.
They will attack that. Guys, Skip, it used to be, okay, we want to just get the guy on the ground. Now that's not enough. Now the objective is to get the ball out of it. Because guess what, Skip? If I knock the ball out of your hand, not only do I get a sack anyway, I get a forced fumble. So I kill 2 birds with 1 stone. They're attacking the football now. And Carson Wentz going to have to do a better job of that because, like you said, the Cowboys are trying to take the ball away. They don't do it a lot. But when normally what we're starting to see with them is that when they do it, it comes in bunches. They don't just get 1. They get 1, 2, 3. So he has to be very, very careful because he's already undermanned.
Against Chicago, then yesterday against the Rams, finally, my defense started getting its hands on the football.
That was a heck of a play by Sean Lee. That was a heck of a play. I don't know if the Wolf Hunter would have made that play. He might have, Skip, but Sean Lee, that's a tight. He caught the ball like the ball was intended for him.
Yeah. He did. And he played very well. He's beat up, and he didn't practice all week. He's got like 3 different injuries.
Yeah.
But he played, and he played his tail off.
He played his tail off.
And he inspires the defense the way Dak inspires the offense. So all of a sudden, my defense is starting to contagiously get their hands on the football at just the right time. So it sounds to me like my partner across the table is angling toward picking the Cowboys and trying to jinx my Cowboys.
Skip, ain't nobody trying to Skip.
Sounds like you're just saying no mas.
Skip, the day is Monday.
Yeah.
We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
We
got
like
4 days.
You're not impressed with your Eagles. Like you're ye of little faith about the Eagles.
Skip.
You do have on kind of greenish. Is that green?
First of all,
is that why we're wearing the green?
They lost to the Dolphins, who got 40 hung on them by the Giants.
By Eli.
Yeah, exactly.
Go, Eli.
Skip, they hung 40 on him, and Eli threw 3 picks.
I mean,
how you give up 40?
I don't know. That's a good question. I did not watch that game. I don't know.
Thank you.
Good for Eli. I guess that was his swan song.
he got the game ball as well. Cheering him on.
So you know what that means. Skip Bayless, you know when there's 2 games left and teams start handing you out game ball, you know that means you're not coming back,
That's
right?
it.
You know that it's like, they start, when you at the job and they start giving you a pencil set or a pen set.
It was like a gold watch of a football. It was a gold watch.
You know what it is.
Like a parting gift.
Yeah, man.
Way to go, Eli. Thank you for all you did. Well, good for you.
Game.
So you're picking Dallas early.
No. I'm not picking anything, Skip. Let's just.
It's okay. You can pick whoever you want.
Hold up.
We have
Can we get like Tuesday, Wednesday? I mean, don't you want build up? Don't you want a tease?
It's only Monday.
It's building.
Let's let it build.
I mean, my restaurant was closed yesterday. The wind. You saw that wind out there?
I figured.
Blew my
Too
power
much
out.
wind?
Yeah,
Really?
too much blew my power out.
Do it.
So I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but
So the Rams were delayed getting back because there was wind issues.
no.
Warnings, right?
But
Yeah.
I'm up and operational this morning. The world famous L will be back in effect
Really?
next week. Yeah. I expect to see a couple Cowboys dropping in there.
We're sure you've read all the gift-giving lists, but don't really have the time to keep scouring the internet for the perfect gift for her this holiday season. With their trendy and classic options, Swarovski has all of this season's must-have styles. The new holiday collection, starting at $69, makes it easy for you to get her something special without the stress on your wallet. Shop the Naughty and Nice collection and other brilliant pieces that will leave her sparkling from ear to ear. And you, anxiety-free, feeling like you nailed it. Whether you want to go out of the box and get her something fun or keep it more traditional, Swarovski's naughty and nice designs have something for every personality. Explore all of their jewelry, watches, and accessories at a Swarovski store near you or online at Swarovski.com.
No mercy. The Cowboys-Rams coin toss brought more drama to Dallas than the Cowboys' blowout win over the Rams. Referee Walt Anderson believed that Dak Prescott didn't say defer, which means that according to officials, the Rams would have the choice to also start the second half with the ball after getting it to start the game. The Cowboys were allowed to receive the second half kickoff after the league stepped in and reviewed the audio of the coin toss that did reveal that Dak said defer. So, Shannon, should the league have intervened here?
No. It's not the league's job to intervene when Dak makes a mistake. Excuse me, Jen. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
When you go out for the coin toss, let me explain to people how it works. Mike, when I went out for the coin toss, I was like, Mike, what do you want? We want the ball or we want to defer the kickoff? Defer the kick. He says, okay, Shannon, we're going to take the ball. Obviously, we win the toss. Visiting team gets to call it. Heads, tails, flips it over. This is head, this is tails. Flips it up in the air. Visiting team calls it. They lose the toss. We want the ball. Well, okay, we want the ball. He's going to ask the visiting team, which goal or end zone do you want to defend? Okay, turn your back to that end zone, such as up, boom, boom, boom. Dak Prescott says, we want to kick. It's not Walt Anderson's job to ask Dak, are you realizing what you're doing? Are you sure? See, Skip, if I throw a penalty and then I say, no, we're going to decline it, and then all of a sudden, the official, are you sure you want to decline this penalty? Now, you know this is 15 yards now. Because that's basically what Walt Anderson did. Walt Anderson should have just left it alone. Once Dak says, we want to kick, he should have went to the Rams. Rams said, we want the ball. Dak, which end zone goal do you want to defend? That would have been it. Skip, Walt Anderson basically covered Dak's butt because he said he wants to kick. Once he wants to kick, now the Rams get the choice. Okay, yeah, of course we want the ball, and we're going to get it again to start the second half. So, no, because what you do is that, Skip, and remember, Al Davis told you, and he told other people that's relayed to me, he went to his grave believing that doing tuck rule, that the NFL got involved and they told him to overrule that call.
Walt Coleman.
Walt Coleman. He believed that. The man went to his grave believing that. When you get a situation like this, because they heard what Dak said, Skip, he said, we want to kick. You see everybody else, he runs off the field. We want to kick that way. Then Walt Anderson's like, he's basically saying, Dak, are you sure? Do you realize what you're doing here? So no, Skip, it's not the NFL's job to bail Dak out from making a mistake. He should have been clear. We want to defer. The Rams like, okay, we're going to take the ball. Cowboys, which goal, end zone you want to defend? Turn your back to the end zone. Good luck. That's what it should have been. But the NFL bailed Dak out for making a wrong decision to begin with.
Yet, Walt Anderson did not cover for Dak Prescott because he immediately told both sidelines the Rams get the ball in the second to start the second half because they went through the whole first half thinking, God, we gave him the ball to start, and we're going to give him the ball to start the second half also?
No, but I was saying what he did, Skip, is that he was once Dak said he wanted to kick, he said the Cowboys want the kick. And Dak and everybody, because somebody, I think that's Jalen Smith, runs off the field, and two guys are pointing, we want to kick that way. So he asked him again, you kick.
Okay, and what magic word came out of Dak's mouth at that point?
Defer.
Defer. We want to defer. Upon second chance, we want to defer.
No, you don't get a second chance, Skip.
So as Mike Pereira said on our air, that the official at that point, the head referee, has to use, they call him the umpire, has to use common sense because it was clear what Dak was trying to say. And he said after the game, we had a mindset going in, and obviously he had conferred with Jason Garrett and all the rest of the coaches.
What do you want to do before?
Okay. And he said we wanted to set a tone of adversity, so we were going to kick to an explosive offense that had been on fire.
Right.
Because Dak's mindset was, we want to kick to them because I want to put my defense, we want to put our defense under fire from the start and see if they can respond to the opening challenge.
Right.
Okay?
Because we did that, Skip, when we were in Baltimore in 2000, we went to toss defense on the field first.
Okay, but you had that defense.
Exactly what I'm saying, Skip.
The Dallas defense missed 19 tackles at Chicago. The Dallas defense turned Mitchell Trubisky into Lamar Trubisky. You saw what happened yesterday, even though the weather was brutally cold, but it was 21-13, so he scored 13 points against Green Bay.
Right.
And somehow the Packers are still hanging in and could get the 1 seed.
Still hanging in.
That's all another
Skip, they had a Hail Mary. I don't know why Robinson and Miller didn't jump on the ball. Skip, the ball was right there.
They had them. Now, they would have had to go for 2 to tie, right?
Right. But I'm saying.
But still, okay? But all you could muster against the Green Bay defense is they could have had like 60 against the Dallas defense, it felt like. So the point was, using the common sense rule, I think Walt Anderson knew exactly what Dak was trying to say, but technically he said it wrong because he said, we want to kick.
Right.
Okay, well, once you say that, he gave him a second chance, and he said, we want to defer. I think he even said one other thing before he said defer.
But you can't, but Skip, you don't get a second chance.
But he was still listening at that point to, now you sure you want to do this? And he said the magic word. And I want to thank Fox Sports for having the audio and actually airing the audio, because it put the league in a tough spot.
Right.
Because if you let it stand that you're going to kick to the Rams to start the second half, even though by that point it was not that consequential, but the league would have looked bad because the magic word defer.
Well, how does it look that official is helping a player? Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want this 15-yard penalty? Because that's what Walt Anderson did. Are you sure you want the kick?
But he didn't let him off the hook, because then he told both sidelines it's the Rams' ball to start the second half.
And that's why the league shouldn't have intervened. Dak Prescott, Skip, hold on. How am I supposed to deduce Dak wants to defer to the second half when he says we want to kick? How am I supposed to deduce that?
Well, because you asked him a second time because you weren't sure what he was saying, and he said, we want to defer.
Skip, I've been a lot of time playing 14 years, and I went to the center field. I've never, ever heard an official ask a player a second time, are you sure? Or do you want to do this?
It wasn't that he was saying, we want to kick. It was that he was saying, we want to kick this way.
Right.
Because now you've chosen.
Because Walt Anderson, I guarantee you, Walt Anderson has never in his years, all the years of officiating, Skip, had never had a situation the guy says we want to kick, give the ball up in the first half, and give it up again in the second half. So that's why he was so caught off guard. He's like, are you?
It's why Mike Pereira, former director of officials, said on Fox, hey, you just have to use a little bit of common sense here. Because you know in your heart of hearts, Dak meant we want to defer. Right?
No! How do I get the... Hold on.
You know it. I'm saying Walt Anderson can't know for sure, but you know, and I think he was deducing, wait a second, they don't want to do that, do they?
But I'm Skip.
But who would want to do that?
That's like me saying, well, I know that guy meant to block that guy, but he didn't. So, no, Skip, he said, we want the kick. How do I get we want to kick to defer? How do we get that?
Just you want to defer the decision to them, right?
No, he said.
Okay, I don't even know this, but if you defer it and they say no, we want to kick, right?
But guess what? Dallas gets the ball and they get the ball in the second half.
Okay.
Because basically that's what Dak did. Dak basically won the toss, deferred, and gave them the opportunity to get the ball in the first half and the second half. So that's what would happen if Skip wins. I'm the visitor, Skip's the home team. I call it lose, and I say, well, I want to defer. Well, Skip said, I defer back to you. I said, okay, well, thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
So it did remind me of an infamous story that happened in Dallas, Texas, and longtime Cowboy fans will remember this, but it was the AFL championship game of 1962, and I know it was a long time ago, but it's infamous because it was Lamar Hunt's Dallas Texans who shared the Cotton Bowl with the young Dallas Cowboys. They were in the championship game against the Houston Oilers, and overtime came, and a star of the Texans named Abner Haynes said, they won the toss, and he said, we want to kick to the clock. Well, once you say to the clock, you're doing what Dak did yesterday.
Right.
We want to kick that way. And he meant the opposite. And so the Oilers got the ball, even though Texans had won the toss in overtime, the Oilers got the ball. Unfortunately for the Texans, they won the championship. in 2 overtimes,
Right.
and then the next year, Lamar Hunt moved them to Kansas City, and they
Okay.
became the Chiefs.
Good story.
Because Skip, a lot of times what happens is that when you defer, especially under conditions,
Yeah.
if it's a windy conditions,
Yeah.
you want to win the second quarter because knowing you're going to get it
I
the
got
third. Because you don't want to give the team, I don't want to give you the ball and the win. No. You know what I'm saying? So we can pick. You got to pick one or the other.
Yeah.
And so when Dak says we want to kick, and he's like, kick that way, Walter Anderson's like,
Once you're that way, then that's it.
Skip, I guarantee you, I don't know how long Walter Anderson has been an official, but I can assure you, he's never heard that before.
Nope.
And so that's what caught him off guard, and that's why, like, you said you want to, because he know what he had just given up.
Yeah.
You had just given up the ball the first half and the second half.
Yep.
NFL got to stay out of this one.
That's where the common sense rule comes. I mean, Prayer's the best, though. I love having him a part of these crews. He really is so good.
Yeah.
I love working with him.
No mercy.
After falling behind by 3 early, the Patriots had no problems taking down the Bengals, scoring 20 unanswered points. The New England defense gave Andy Dalton fits all day, picking off the QB 4 times. Offensively, the Patriots had almost 50 more rushing yards than Tom Brady had passing yards. Brady did find the end zone, though, twice. New England would wind up winning this one 34-13. So, Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impressed were you by the Patriots?
2. Again, it's about the defense. They got 5 takeaways. Gilmore did an unbelievable job again. He had another 2 interception game. The other DB, J.C. Jones, I think that's his name. He had 2. Jackson. Yeah. He had 2 interceptions
They got
also.
lots of Joneses and Jacksons.
He seems to like those guys because he had a Cyrus Jones a couple of years ago. He likes Jones and Jackson. You're right, Skip. Again, you look at the defense, and because what we're starting to see, when they hold the opponent under 14, they win. Teams that have gotten over 14, they've lost. And Skip, if you look at it, 3 of their scoring drives, the Patriots got 17 points when they started the ball in Cincinnati's territory. And you give up that pick 6, so you're talking about 24 of their points. So Tom Brady got 10 points in which he had to drive the field. Now, Skip Bayless will tell you that Tom Brady is still playing unbelievable. He's playing unbelievable football, Skip. 15 of 29, above 28? Hold on. I know good well Tom Brady ain't get 5 turnovers and had 128 yards passing. But everybody wants to believe that Tom Brady is just fine. Stop this. Stop this lunacy. Stop this maddening. Skip, you know he about to get that pocket watch. You know Coach Belichick about to give that old gold watch.
I hope he does.
You got about to give that gold watch, Skip. Look.
I would love to see Tom Brady with the Chargers next year.
Love to. They got the running game going. Sonny Michel ran the ball hard yesterday. Burkhead came in there and gave him a big run, gave him that 33-yard touchdown run. They even let N'Keal Harry carry the ball a couple of times. But, Skip, look, if you've been impressed with what the defense has been doing, and they've been doing this pretty much all year, they've had 3 lapses, or if you want to say lapses, where they've played competition that's the offense is comparable to what they are on defense. You look at the Ravens, you look at the Texans, and you look at I forget who beat them last week. You see what's going on.
Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Beat the
Patriots.
Yes.
If you look at offense that's comparable to what they can possess defensively, you see they struggle. Let that sink in. Every game in which they've given up more than 14 points, they've lost. So, Skip, I'm not, 15 or 28. Brady was like 3.7 yards an attempt. Out of 26 quarterbacks, of the 26 quarterbacks to start at least 3 games since week 11, I just want you to let that sink in. That's a large body, because Skip loves large bodies of work. He said he liked large body, like the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. He said he liked large bodies, so I want to give him a large body of work. Since week 11, of the 26 quarterbacks that started at least 3 games, Tom Brady, GOAT Brady, the winner of 6 Super Bowls, is dead last in yards per attempt. 2. Defense gets a 10, but I drug it down to a 2 because the offense was minus.
My turn. On an impressive scale of 1 to 10, I give New England's performance yesterday a 1.
Okay.
You gave it a 2, I give it a 1. Thank you. It's not a Brady scale, it's a New England scale.
1.
So here are my many issues with what I witnessed with my own 2 eyes yesterday at
it.
Cincinnati versus the team that is going to get Joe Burrow, the new Heisman Trophy winner, with the first overall pick in the draft. Congratulations,
Well, there you
Joe
go.
Burrow, although Jalen Hurts should have hung in there and won, but that's all.
No,
he'll get a chance to right the wrong when he plays LSU. We'll see how that goes.
LSU gonna score 60 on Oklahoma.
Not if we play keep away. So, what happened yesterday? I saw Brady pull off a pretty sweet opening drive. 75 yards in 8 plays, 7-0. Then what happened to that vaunted Belichick defense? Here came Andy Dalton and company, and they go 75 yards in 9 plays to tie it at 7-7. On 3rd and 3 from the 8, they hit an 8-yard touchdown pass, and I'm thinking, really? Really? You're letting Cincinnati, the worst team in the league, do that to you?
Yes.
And then Brady went nowhere the next drive, and here came Andy Dalton again, and they go 49 yards in 9 plays and had a little chip shot 34-yard field goal, and they were ahead 10-7. That's the Belichick defense. These are the Bengals at Cincinnati, and they're doing that to them. I'm not impressed. So, what did I tell you Friday was the only ray of hope for this team? It has one potential silver lining, one potential game season saver. His name is N'Keal Harry. He played all of 2 snaps against the Kansas City Chiefs at Foxborough. Yesterday, guess I was a little ahead of this curve, N'Keal Harry played 38 snaps. You don't think they were trying to feature him, trying to get him to grow up fast? Because they know what's obvious. He's their only hope. He's all they have at receiver who can actually make a play,
get it done,
separate, make something happen. So they handed it to him twice, and Brady actually stooped to throw it to him 4 times, and he caught 2. And the second one that he caught was for a touchdown. Right. It was the only time the whole game, if we could see the touchdown throw, it was the only time Tom had time. And I don't know why he had time. They looked like they rushed like 3. And they played all coverage in the end zone. And this is the throw to N'Keal Harry. But this is the only time all day long that Tom actually had time to look. And then he fired a strike to, guess who? Number 15, N'Keal Harry. First-round pick out of Arizona State. He's a stud. He's 6'4", 225, and he ran 4.5.
But Skip, the thing is, normally, what we don't normally see dealing with the Patriots is that we don't normally see rookies contribute heavily.
Okay, but they have
so they're forced to now, huh?
Mohamed Sanu is a bust to me. And Brady threw him another few. I think he targeted him the most yesterday. They tried to get him going. He had 8 balls he was targeted.
But Skip, one of them he
threw
for
13.
Skip, one of them he threw so hard. Sanu turned around and looked like Brady.
Okay, but you got to catch that.
Skip, he threw it.
It hit him right there.
Skip.
Okay, I'm calling that one of the drops. So they had 2 drops more yesterday, and they lead the NFL in drops. They also lead the NFL in lack of separation. And what happened to Julian Edelman yesterday? Back to our man Jay Glazer on the pregame show. He had a great day yesterday on the pregame show.
What did he say?
He reported that Julian Edelman was, and I'm going to quote Jay, highly questionable. He's got ribs, he's got a shoulder, and he's got a knee. And it sounded like if you're highly questionable, there was some thought that you shouldn't play in this game, but he sucked it up and he played. And you see the outcome. He played 40 snaps to 38 for N'Keal Harry, which is low for Julian.
And Skip, I mean, you could just look. I mean, the thing, there's no worse feeling than being injured and being out there. Because your mind, Skip, you're not thinking about catching no ball. You're like, man, my knee hurt, my ankle hurt, my ribs hurt, his shoulder hurt. And you could tell in his route running, that's not Julian.
That was not Julian. So Tom threw him 5 balls and he caught 2 for 9 yards. Wow. Okay, so if you take Julian away, which they usually take away with double coverage, but they didn't even need to double him yesterday, what exactly is left? Well, to your point, finally, it's been a long time since Sony Michel emerged from the doghouse into some pile driving runs, and that's pretty good. He got 89 yards on 19 tries. But Burkhead finally sort of got on track in the second half, and it helped build that total of 175. He got loose at the end for 33 and a touchdown against his ex-team.
But what should be concerning for the Patriots, Skip, is what? They allow Joe Mixon. Now, we're starting to see.
I love Joe Mixon as a runner, as a runner. He's strong. He runs hard.
Remember, Chubb got loose, and we chalked up where they were so far ahead, nobody cared.
I got it.
But we're starting to see teams are starting to, gain traction, running the football.
Traction. So, to me, they're trying to get N'Keal to grow up quickly, which is not the Patriot way, to your point. And it's really all they have on offense because they couldn't protect Tom. I'm here to tell you, I think Brady took the worst punishment he's taken all year in that game yesterday. They hit him, and, boy, they sandwiched him a couple of times where, trust me, at 42, He is feeling it today. He is having, I know LeBron said after the game last night, I'm feeling it. You know, when there was a question about, do you see yourself being able to play with Bronny?
Yeah.
Well, it's still a ways away. And LeBron said, I don't know, after the way I feel tonight, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
Right. Because at the bare minimum, Skip, Bronny is a freshman. So you still got 18, 19, 20. That's 20. Then he still got 1 year of college. So that'd be
at least 1 year, because I don't know if he's good enough to be a one and done, but maybe he'll be that. He might.
So
that's the thing.
Can do it?
So, oh man, look here. And to try to play at the level that he's playing, because that's the thing. If Tom felt that, and in Tom's mind, he's still playing at the high level. But when you these great players, if you see a substantial drop, Skip, you can't. LeBron ain't gonna hang around to be scoring no 14 points. That's why Kobe left.
I totally agree.
That ain't in him.
So the point is, New England's going to have a hard time beating Buffalo on Saturday.
It's going to be a good, because Buffalo can play defense.
Hey, Buffalo went to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh can play defense, and they eked it out, but they did it.
Right.
Seriously, the Bills.
Okay. The Bills.
Hey,
10-4.
They're in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're in.
They're 10-4, right? Yeah, they're
10-4. They're in.
Yeah,
Oh,
and they still have an outside chance of winning the division, but it's a long shot.
Right.
Yeah, it's still a possibility, though.
No mercy.
So the Cowboys steamrolled the Rams yesterday, and the Eagles won in the last minute against the Redskins. Now, both teams are 7-7 when they meet this Sunday. If the Cowboys win, they clinch the NFC East. And if the Eagles win, they could win the division if they go on to win the following week as well against the Giants. So joining us now, Fox Sports NFL analyst Michael Vick. Good morning.
Good morning. Here we go.
All right. So, Mike, from what you saw yesterday, between the Cowboys and Eagles, who has the edge going into Sunday?
I think Dallas has the advantage. You know, Dallas still has the big three, you know, Dak, Zeke, and Amari, and that's offense instantly right there if used correctly. And the win yesterday gave them a lot of morale, I tell you that. It does a lot for a locker room on both sides of the ball, in which they are healthy on the offensive side of the ball, on the defensive side of the ball. They got all the pieces in place. The Eagles, on the other hand, you know, they gotta fight for everything right now. And it wasn't an easy win versus the Washington Redskins, but they found a way to do it, and I think they found a formula. But the only thing that's helping them right now, and what will help them this Sunday, is them being at home. But you know, we just got Carson standing and a couple good defensive players. You know, it doesn't seem like a good fit for the Philadelphia Eagles,
especially late.
I think Carson has stepped up to the plate. I think he's done great. You know, in terms of what they've needed him to do, and the amount of weapons around them. It's just hard to look at this team and say, you know, this is a team that we want to see in the playoffs because of just the lack of talent that they have. A lot of guys on the sideline, a lot of guys on IR. It's just not a good fit. But for the Cowboys, they're in a good stand. They're in a good situation right now.
If this Eagle team were to make the playoffs, they're getting beat by 20 points, whoever they play at home, their first game, Skip. Right now, the Eagles are being held together by Elmer's glue and popsicle sticks. I mean, Skip, you look, I mean, this is not what Doug Peterson expected at the beginning of the season. He's like, my wide receivers are going to be D-Jack, Alshon, maybe sprinkling a little Aguilar. We got Arcega-Whiteside, maybe he'll contend, and he'll be our third receiver. We got those two tight ends, Goddard and Ertz. We good, Miles Sanders, so we going to be good in that area. But I tell you what's most disappointing to him is the way his defense is played. His defense has let him down, Skip. That unit should be better. They've made marginal quarterbacks look unbelievable. There's no way Dwayne Haskins should look like this against an experienced ball club like the Philadelphia Eagles. And they are not playing up. They're not holding up their end of the deal. If they had a bunch of guys, if Jenkins and some of these other guys on IR, Fletcher Cox, okay, I would get it. But they're healthy. There's no reason whatsoever for this defense to be this bad. And for back-to-back weeks, Carson Wentz has to work magic against a team that has, and I get it, we understand, Mac, you know this very well. Division opponents, when they're not going anywhere, the thing that they take great satisfaction in is knocking your butt out the playoffs so you can't go. When they say misery loves company, you better believe that. Because when I wasn't going to the playoffs, let Kansas City got a chance. I'm trying to have my best game against you. You're not going, we going home together. Everybody gonna cut off their power to the apartments at the same time. We going home, y'all going home. Raiders, same thing. But this, Skip, look, the Cowboys, what they put together yesterday and the way their defense played, they went and got 44 against an 8-5 team, the Rams, that have been playing white hot. And we had to nick, scratch, claw, beg, borrow, and steal to be the Washington team that's been left for dead for 6 weeks. And this is where we are. So the Cowboys have to feel good about themselves. But as long as I got to walk into them, I got a chance.
You got a
chance. And guys like I walk into them.
Well, as long as you got that green suit on, you got a chance.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's some eagle green right there.
I didn't plan on this, but it
sure?
just happened. It just
didn't
happened.
plan on it?
I didn't plan on it.
I think you are representing. I
should
think
have worked
you're
Friday.
hanging in.
Don't be surprised if it come back Friday for good luck.
Yeah,
Really?
sure.
Yeah, it might come back for good luck.
I'm going to discount everything you said. I'm going to take to the bank everything he said because there's method to your madness. You want to fuel that underdog fire that Dougie P will be beating that drum for, pouring gasoline on that fire all week. You are a home underdog. They're going to come in here and embarrass you. They're going to try to steamroll you on the way to the division title in a home playoff game. Are you going to let that happen?
Yep.
That's what Dougie P is going to be
Yeah.
preaching in that locker room every second, out on that practice field every second. So I'm going to say this because I'm going to be careful with those Eagles because I do still respect, and I'll go so far as to fear, the defensive front seven. On paper, it's better than my front seven. It just is. I don't know why it hasn't played up to that, but neither is mine for much of the year. But if I start reading you the names across that front, you know and I know, it is stout, man. And if they rise up and play the way my team suddenly got inspired to play yesterday, they'll hang tough in this game. You better believe they will.
At some point in time, you got to have pieces. Offensively, they just don't have the weaponry to compete with Dallas on a consistent basis, down in and down out. That's
you know what? Miles Sanders is pretty good.
Oh, he's getting better.
He's getting better.
He's getting better.
I mean, he scares me. And little Boston Scott scares me because he's a little pepper pot fire plug, just he starts fires because he can get loose. And Greg Ward Jr., I told you earlier in the show, I respect him, a former Texas State High School Player of the Year who was a really good college quarterback, who also played receiver in college. And it feels like he and Carson are developing a wavelength because he thinks like a quarterback, and Carson can trust he's going to be there when he's supposed to be there.
And think about it. He beat Josh Norman. Skip, Josh Norman was once the highest paid corner. Now, he's just a shell of himself, and I always thought that he was overvalued, but that's neither here nor there. But to make that play, he's only going to gain more confidence.
You just outquicked him to the flag.
Because in a situation like that, when you're dealing with a guy like this, a guy that was a practice squad guy, Skip, he got released. You're like, and then you start to doubt, am I good enough? They bring you back, you get cut again, and then you start playing. And you see the quarterback, that's Carson Wentz. That's just not any quarterback that's going to be out, that's going to, with somebody, they're waiting to draft somebody, and he's going to be in there. That's your franchise guy. And he has confidence in me. He gave me the ball. Look at this. To Skip that big third down, he threw the ball to him. Not Ertz. Now, you know Ertz is his favorite target.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm going to this kid. And on the game-winning touchdown, he goes to this kid. Now this kid like, man, I belong. Now, he's going to be the deal with moving forward. The confidence that you get by having a guy like Carson Wentz throw you the ball in those type situations, Skip. But again, it's still, you talk about Greg Ward Jr., he's still, Skip, an undrafted free agent that was on the practice squad.
He's been on that practice.
I think he was a quarterback at first. And for the Philadelphia Eagles, when, the only thing they can hang their hat on, I think, is that Doug Peterson has found a formula that works, down the stretch. It's helping Carson Wentz be a better quarterback without the weapons that they don't have. It's allowing guys who are just average players to show up a little bit. And, if he can do that, then they may have a chance. But I doubt it because the Dallas Cowboys, I think they're hitting their stride right now.
The reason why they won this game, Skip, you look at red zone efficiency, they're 4 for 5. Goal-to-goal efficiency, they're 3 or 4. That'll do it. When you get down there and you don't kick field goals, you settle for you get touchdowns instead of kicking field goals. That's the difference in the ball game, and that's going to be the difference. Now, I don't know how many times they'll get there, but when you get down in there, you better cash it in because Dallas, with what I saw the Eagles put on tape yesterday against Washington, Dallas will hang 45 on them.
Yeah, they struggled.
That was the Dallas you saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Not the Dallas I saw the week before and the week before and the week before.
The Dallas that we saw yesterday.
Okay, I would like to believe my team exploded and took off and launched yesterday. And I've been telling you for weeks, I know it's in there. I got to see it. And they need to feel it because to your first point, once that happens, once 44-21 happens, and it was 37-7 with 6 minutes to go.
Especially late in the season.
Once that happens, you explode.
Sure.
And you remember Troy Aikman said at the end of the telecast on the Thursday night at Chicago, boy, it's just hard to imagine how they're going to come back from this.
Right.
But Troy did acknowledge late in yesterday's game that, hey, in our 1995 push to the Super Bowl, because I was there, I wrote a book about it and covered it every game. They lost 3 of 5 late. Then they came home and they barely beat the Giants 21-20. Then they went to Arizona, and Troy mentioned this yesterday with 2:30 left in the game. We went and won at Arizona. Arizona finished 4-12 that year, and they just routed them. It was 37-7. And Troy said, we took off.
Right.
Well, so it's possible. Now, that team was way better than this. It was loaded.
And plus, they had already won 2 Super Bowls and lost the NFC Championship the year before.
That
so
team wound up. That
was
team
riding high.
wound up 12-4.
But how about you give what you call him?
Yeah.
Old Red some credit. He showed him that highlight tape. He said, guys, this is what we are.
Yeah.
He said he did
This
that
is what
before.
we're capable of being.
Red had his best game of the year last year doing this. He was his best the whole year.
Skip,
And
the
you know
highlight
what?
tape.
His butt slapping yesterday was extraordinary. I've never seen anything like his butt slapping.
So you ain't gonna give
He
no
was
credit?
really
Not too
good.
much
I mean, it was
intensity.
like
What about-
all-pro butt slapping.
What about the highlight tape that he showed
It
him?
was Hall of Fame butt slapping.
The highlight
I
tape.
don't
So
know.
you don't want to get better about the highlight tape.
It went in one eye and out the other.
No, you saw the way they played.
I told you what
They
happened
were
last
inspired.
week. All they heard all week was, people are betting you from a 3.5-point favorite to a 2-point dog at home, as in dog.
Watch
You're a
what
dog.
Dougie P got another one. Dougie P got the video crew right now working on a highlight tape.
He does?
He gonna show them that thing. Yeah. You gonna come out, they gonna be spraying fire. Final countdown.
Okay, I've told you from day one this year, my team's a little better than your Eagles. It's just a little bit better. I think my quarterback's
Right
a
now,
little
they might
bit
be a
better.
lot bit better.
Right now.
Okay? And I think they will carry huge momentum into a game at Philly where they're good at Philly. They've always played tough at Philly. You remember a few games?
Yeah, I mean, this game is a rival.
Yeah.
You know, and it'll always be that way. I actually thought it was week 17. I didn't know it was this week. That's my fault for not knowing. But it couldn't have came at a better time. You know, when
For
both
Dallas.
teams have come for Dallas and I think for Philadelphia, if you know, you have some type of momentum going in after a win, and a win is a win in the NFL.
Listen,
the way you,
in 2 division
look
wins
at
in a
it.
row, I give you, listen,
Yeah, so
Carson led a drive that beat the Giants, and he led a drive that beat the Redskins, even though the rest of the game was disposable.
They're gonna have to do something that they didn't do the last. They're gonna have to get some turnovers.
Yeah.
I don't know if they can go head to head with Dallas unless they get a couple of extra possessions. That's the way they're gonna have to win this
You're
game.
right, and finally, my defense is contagiously taking the football away.
Yeah.
I love
Walk
it.
into them, both.
If both teams show up, the Dallas Cowboys should win.
Okay,
Bottom line.
that's good. But the one guy I fear the most is number 86. He's still there. When you say there's lack of weaponry, Zach Ertz is really good. There are days I think he's better than Kelsey, and there are days I think Kelsey's better.
Well, right now, George Kittle is the best tight end.
You could make that.
You make the argument easy.
I know we saw them face off week 7. It just feels like a long time ago. 2 different teams, a long time
Payback.
ago
Yep.
between these two.
The
Maybe
big
a
payback.
highlight
I can't
video of that game.
Yeah, the big payback. That was
Nephew.
Dougie P. Dougie P got something brewing too now.
Highlight video.
Yeah.
I like it. You're getting your confidence back. I need that.
That's what we want.
They go,
We
they
want
have Joy
someone
Howard
here.
back this week or no? Probably.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know. They're doing okay with Miles Sanders.
We need D. Jackson and Alshon back this week. That's what we need.
Always good to have you, Mike.
No mercy.
So Fox Sports' very own Jay Glazer revealed exclusive footage of the Patriots production crew being confronted by Bengals security after being caught filming the sidelines last week. In the video, the Patriots videographer said he was unaware of the rule against recording the sideline and offered to delete the footage several times. Bengals security could be heard chuckling and saying that the damage had already been done. A supervising producer with Kraft Sports and Entertainment released a statement that said he had no intentions to provide any of the footage to the Patriots football operations. And joining us now is Fox Sports NFL analyst James Harrison. James, how incriminating is this video?
I don't think it's very incriminating as far as it being Belichick, and that's the big thing everyone wants to think is Belichick. I see it as a lot of teams that have people in different parts of their organization don't really know all of the NFL rules. And you got somebody that's a video person. They're recording for the Kraft, network, production company. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe they know the rules. You have head coaches and the actual, coaches that are positional coaches that don't know all of the rules. So in that perspective, I don't think it's really that damning. But when the smoke is fire, so to speak, and I think it kind of hits a soft spot for me because in 2004, we kind of smacked him around, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, we sacked Brady like 2 times, maybe 4 times, picked him off twice. And
then the AFC Championship game.
And then the AFC Championship game came back, and they got, it's like they got on the magic stick. They seeing everything. He is, it's no confusion. Mm-hmm. We're showing hard from here, and it's a check off to, they hit us on something goofy, like 80-something% of our blitzes. So with that, I just don't believe they're actually, or Belichick is stupid enough to say, hey, go in here, film the sideline, wear my gear, get your credentials and everything else, and everything's going to be okay.
So, by the way, you did finish your career up there.
Yes.
Inside.
Well, see, this is what happened. This is what I think happened. So I think when I got there, they was like, you know what? We got him, but we can't show him too much yet. We can't let him know what we're really doing.
Right.
No, I'm just playing. But I didn't, when I was there, it was none of that going on, to be totally honest.
Sniff any of that?
No, to be totally honest.
Because you got ready for a Super Bowl.
Yes.
So there was no, inside info on Philly or...
Okay. You know what, Jenny? I found something that you read very interesting.
Which part?
You said the producer said, read what you said about what the producer said.
He said that he was unaware of the rule against recording the sideline and offered to delete the footage several times.
No, that part about
Which part?
He was not going to provide any of this to the football office.
Oh, and also that he had no intentions to provide any of the footage to the Patriots football operations.
Why would he need to do that if he's shooting a piece for a website? Why would you need to broach that?
That's interesting.
Because I think he's getting caught. Not necessarily getting caught. Someone's questioning you, and now you're thinking in your head, you know what? We do have we got a record.
Because you know why? Because what is the advanced scout doing? What does the advanced scout do? They help the football side. So what is this doing? You know why? Because here's the thing. So I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly, because Skip wants people to believe at home, because I always say the jury is always instructed by the judge to use common sense. You don't have to be Harvard educated. You don't need to go to the John Jay School or the New York Law School. You don't need that. Skip, one of these prestigious law schools, where they teach everything. You don't need that. Now, if this guy's recording this, would the advanced scout need to see this? Because if he needs, why would he need to see it?
You're saying he wouldn't have any involvement in the piece?
Yes. Why would he need to see the advanced scout? They're doing a piece. They're showing him he's doing his job.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't need to see this, right? It's just going to come out. Okay, this is what you do. This is what we took, and move. Keep it on.
Well, they said they were showing what he was seeing through his binoculars. That was his excuse for why they were filming the sideline to go back and forth.
But if you notice, they never had him in the actual footage. So why wouldn't you get him watching the game in the footage?
How would you get him in the shot unless you set up the camera right behind him and shot the top of his head?
Yes.
He's sitting beside you.
Maybe they had that, or their plan was to get that shot. We don't know at this point.
My point is, if you want to show what I'm doing, okay, when people show what I'm doing, they film from behind the scenes.
Right
there. When they did a piece on Skip, they from behind the scenes, they shooting over here, they're getting, okay, this is what Skip does. Okay, but Skip is in the footage. Okay. Why wasn't the guy in the footage that they're shooting?
Because
the thing is, I did a little filming stuff myself, but that is on the actual set now. On the actual set, I was there for literally 10 hours filming. We filmed for a real 10 hours. I was there for 16 total, okay?
Now, what was this?
This was the SWAT. And it was for 2 minutes.
Guest
starring for 2. I was literally on camera for like 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. They didn't even use 90% of the film that they
That's
shot.
what I told him.
So for them to do this piece and have certain parts here and there, they can't reshoot it. So they're just getting what they can, because you can't say, hey, stop play and let's go back and film this and that. I understand that. But for them to actually go in there, I got a big S on my chest and talk about I'm filming this, and it's not. I don't see him allowing that. You can't.
When you watch bank robbers, do most bank robbers? They normally come in when you're sophisticated. You come in with security guard equipment, right? You look like you security. You look like you work for the Brinks or Armored or whomever, Wells Fargo.
Oh, you come in there with a face mask. No, you come in there with a mask on a gun.
Yeah, when you steal $500. When you steal $500, they say, okay. When you steal $500 million, they will come after you. So you have to.
Who done stole $500 million?
No, but I'm saying no. But listen what I'm saying. Skip. When you try to do things that are against the rules and regulations, you have to become more sophisticated with it. You can't just walk in there and say, yeah, we're Patriots. We film for the Patriots. We're doing this for the Patriots. They said in 2015, they said if you ever caught, the guy that broke, he said, if you ever caught doing anything wrong, just say you work with Kraft Productions and you're doing a video feature.
Who said that?
No, stop it.
It was in 2015 when it came with Deflategate. That's what one of the employees said. You're supposed to say, this is what happened.
I'm not saying it's not wrong. Don't get me wrong there. If I get caught doing 100 miles an hour and the officer stops me and says, why were you speeding? I'm gonna say I don't know what the speed limit was. That's not gonna stop me from getting the ticket. Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
Okay.
They're still gonna get punished. But I'm saying it's not going up top. If my son, when he starts driving, drives 90 miles an hour, that's not me telling him he could drive 90 miles an hour. That's just him doing it on his own.
But if you were to have an accident, you're held culpable.
True statement.
Shannon, this is the equivalent, using your bank analogy, rob the bank analogy. This is calling ahead 15 minutes early and say, hey, I'm coming to rob your bank.
Yeah.
That's the equivalent of what they, quote unquote, tried to do.
Yeah, well,
That's what that was.
And I don't blame you for leaping to a conclusion, got caught red-handed, because you are prone, you've been conditioned over the years to think they cheat because they have been caught red-handed.
Right.
Not think.
Okay.
They do cheat.
They did.
They did.
They got caught.
Yes.
And they've been accused in many ways, shape, and forms, including taping the walkthroughs before the first two Super Bowls they played against the Rams and the Panthers. Executives for those two teams accused Bill Belichick of taping their Saturday walkthrough. Now that's cheating to me. Bugging a locker room would be cheating at Foxborough and Gillette.
And one of Coach Belichick's lieutenant took that same thing to Denver, and he got fired because he taped the walkthrough in London.
Okay. So I get it that you want to leap to the conclusion off reputation, and I'm with you. I want to believe that they have cheated too, because I do believe it. But in this case, it's so silly that it's got to be innocent, because I'm going to read that quote again from the Boston Globe from a source, and it was a Patriot source saying.
So what's he supposed to say?
You would, but he's just trying to put it in perspective. You would not go in wearing a Boston Bruins shirt, put a camera on a tripod in the press box, and hope nobody notices. It's silly. It's laughably bad, because the video in question is not good enough to do that for. Because if you want that video, you want to shoot it from ground level across the field from Cincinnati so you can see all their hand signals.
Right.
This is from the back, and you're getting coaches' backs, and you can see part of the hand signals, but you can't see the whole thing, because they're just trying to show the advanced scout's viewpoint from the second row of the press box. So he sat up right next to the scout and put his tripod camera and pointed down, and you shoot 8 minutes of B-roll to show, oh, this is his vantage point.
So you can do that. You can do that in 30 seconds. You
what?
8 minutes.
30 seconds.
So the question was, would you have stopped?
Videographers are known to have.
Would you have stopped if the Bengals security guy would not have stopped him? Would he have stopped on his own?
No.
Probably not.
So why not?
Because
I don't think he realizes that what he was doing was wrong until he was questioned. And I got NFL security, I got Bengals security. What I'm doing can't be right.
James, okay. You and I, hey, James, hey, drop me off over here, bro. I need to get this. I come back, I run, jump in the car. All right, drive off. They pull us over. I done held up the liquor store. You didn't know anything. You innocent. What happened to you, James?
Ain't nothing gonna happen to me. I'm telling everything on you.
Tell all you want to.
I ain't going to jail for you.
You driving the getaway car.
What you talking about?
You driving the getaway car.
I ain't going to jail for nobody.
You driving the getaway car.
If you jump in the car sweating, huffing, and puffing, I'm gonna be like, yo, why am I driving off fast? Like, what's going on? Shay,
I said, look,
you got me in something?
No, I ain't got you in nothing, bro.
Would you do that to him?
I just say, hey.
Got a lot of
I'm gonna get out the car and take my keys with me and tell him you sitting right here.
Hey, don't worry about it. I'm gonna tell him it was a plan. We playing this all alone. We got cold feet.
Ain't nobody
we got
French.
cold feet.
Ain't nobody French.
We got cold feet.
Friend.
Yeah, we got cold feet.
What are you doing robbing a liquor store?
Seriously,
I'm just saying.
you're robbing a lot of things.
I'm just saying that this videographer, that all of a sudden they want everybody to claim ignorance because ignorance of the law, but ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
I talked to a few people that were with them back when before or after they ended up getting caught, and they thought that was normal. That was just how every team operated.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, we have never filmed anybody's sideline.
Interesting.
But getting their signals, I think in that organization, maybe through that coaching lineage or line that was going through him, that was what they did.
Right.
That was their edge. That was because we never did that.
Josh McDaniels brought that to Denver, and Mr. Bolin was so upset. Mr. Bolin fired him on the spot. Said, you tarnish my reputation. You can't do that.
But he got caught.
Yes.
Yeah.
The 49ers caught him.
Okay.
In London.
In London.
Yeah.
Yes, he tried to film their walkthrough because the pressure was on Skip. They had lost all these games in a row.
I got it.
So you think they blatant enough to say, hey, I'm coming in here with my badge, with my gear. I'm filming this, and I'm going to take a chance. If y'all come up and catch me, y'all catch me. And I'm going to say it was for something else.
Yep.
Say, come on.
James, when it first started, Roger Goodell sent a memo around to all 32 teams. If you're taping signals from the sideline, don't do it. What did Coach Belichick continuously do? Is he that stupid to disregard a memo?
Listen, nobody's going to disregard the memo. This is the thing. I'm not saying they're not going to get punished. I'm saying he doesn't know.
Oh, he knows. Yeah. Coach, in football operation, okay, what do you think goes on in Pittsburgh in the football side of it that Mike Tomlin doesn't know about?
As far as filming something like that?
As far as football operations, advanced scouting, analytics, what doesn't Coach Tomlin
My understanding it was for their craft sports, what is it?
Website. It's Patriots website.
He wouldn't know about that. That's like the
behind
Steelers.
the scenes. Do your job. Showcase different jobs.
Don't let that,
believe me, I'm sour on it bad, but I don't believe.
Don't let that cheap suit and bad tie fool you that Coach Belichick wears.
Listen, nobody is.
He conniving. He dirty. Hey, dirty.
My chest his chest not that big. Nobody. You can't do that. It's not gonna happen.
Skip. James, you know they're arrogant. They're arrogant.
That's just stupidity. That would be. He's not stupid. You saying he's stupid?
No. But see, Skip, James, when you do things and you've gotten away with
look at this.
When you get away with things, you think you're invincible. You know, as an athlete, we think we're invincible. When you were great,
I never thought I was invincible.
Stop playing.
Hey, if this is true, if you're right about this, he should lose his job over this one.
I agree with you, but if he's right about this, it's over with.
Going to get them tapes. They should have did just like they do everything else. When they think you're engaged in criminal activity, what do? They send them guys out before you get a chance to destroy the evidence. Ask Michael Cohen what they did to him. They woke him up. Ask Roger Stone. Boom, 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 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. We ain't letting you flush nothing. We're not letting you burn nothing.
Right.
They should have dispensed those guys to the headquarters of the Patriots.
And just
don't nobody move. Yeah. Don't nobody move. Don't nobody get hurt.
Don't nobody touch nothing.
Yes, sir. And now, because you know they done flushed everything.
Well, it was well done by Jay Glazer to get this footage. And he also said the NFL wants this figured out sooner rather than later.
Give me the heads up, the IRS coming.
We will be waiting patiently.
I'm burning everything. Give me the heads up, I'm burning everything.
Okay, stop.
No mercy.
So after Ezekiel Elliott had only 47 yards on 20 carries against the Vikings Week 10, Skip threw away his Zeke jersey. But after we saw vintage Zeke yesterday running through the Rams defense for over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, Skip pulled the jersey back out of the trash, and there he is, just getting that dust off. Gave it a little kiss, I think, too,
I
Skip.
gave it a big kiss.
Over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Skip.
It needs to be laundried, but that's okay.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Can you explain?
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, well.
What happened? What's going on here?
Look, I disqualify myself from the start. I'm an over-emotional psycho fan.
Really?
Really.
You admit it, though. I appreciate it.
I'm irrational. I'm not sane. My uncle took me to my first Cowboy game at the Cotton Bowl when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
It was in their second year of existence, and I was hooked. They even lost that game to the St. Louis Cardinals at that point, and I was hooked. And I've never reacted rationally to one win or loss. And I'm trying to be rational today because I am over the moon about what I saw yesterday because that's the team I've been telling you about from day one. That's the team I picked to get to the Super Bowl. And I think you saw it as a tour de force yesterday. Aha, there. So what did I do a year ago? After a debacle of a Monday night game. Do you remember this against Tennessee? Mm-hmm. My man Dak Prescott, and I'm the biggest Dak Prescott supporter and believer in the world. He threw a huge red zone, end zone interception. Do you remember this? He tried to lob it to a new guy named Amari Cooper, and Kevin Byard picked it off easily and ran it all the way out and celebrated on the star like Terrell Owens did.
On him. Yep.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And it should have been 14-0 with that throw, and unfortunately it was only 7-0, and here came Tennessee, and there went Dallas. And it was as humiliating a defeat as I can remember in a long, long time.
Y'all lost to Marcus Mariota?
Yeah, we did. Who doesn't have a job anymore.
Yeah!
I told you, but I didn't tell you, but I said before his draft, don't draft him that high. He is not worthy of that pick. And he came in and picked us to pieces.
He did.
And my quarterback had a QBR that night of 22. Did Dak Prescott score scale 0 to 100? He had that big end zone interception. He got sacked 5 times. He lost a fumble. It was a nightmare of a game, and I threw his jersey over emotionally in the trash. But the following week, they went to, guess where? Philadelphia. Oh. And because of my quarterback, they won 27-20. And that night, I went and fished his jersey out of my trash. So I can't even remember when I threw Zeke's in the trash. It was a few weeks ago because he deserved it.
It was Minnesota. It was Minnesota.
Was it Minnesota?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because what did they do? They got it to 2nd and 2 at the 11, and my quarterback was on fire, and they went, Zeke, throw it to Zeke, game over. And I said, I've seen enough. I cannot help myself. And you're right. It was Minnesota. I threw his jersey in the trash. Yesterday, for the first time all season too long, 14 games in, that was the guy I used to know and love. He ran angry. He ran with passion. He only waved out of the game one time yesterday, and I forgive him for that because he was so good, and I haven't seen that Zeke all year. Ran with such a purpose. He was pushing the pile. He was creating his own holes the way he used to. And he had 117 yards on 24 tries. At least that's 5 yards a carry. And he caught 3 balls for 43 more yards because he had a long of 26. That will work. Now we got the thunder to the lightning that is Tony Pollard. So over emotionally, I went and I fished his jersey out of the trash. And I just might wear it all through the next game at Philadelphia because I am back. And I have apologized to Mama Zeke's mom. She's taken issue with me again this morning because she said, I told you don't ever wear that jersey again.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I'm back. No. And I'm going to wear it whether you like it or not, Mama. I'm going to wear it.
Think about it. Hold on just a second. Yesterday was Zeke Elliott's 6th 100-yard game.
Okay.
Skip, did you know Zeke Elliott is tied for 2nd most 100-yard games in the NFL this year? He's tied with Christian McCaffrey, Carson, and Zeke. Both have 6. Only Nick Chubb, who has 7, has more 100-yard games.
How many games in a row had he not had 100? Well, go ahead. Tell the people out there what the truth is.
When you was talking, I didn't interrupt you. I gave you, I said, let's just skip a moment. I'm going to let you have your moment. I let him have his moment. I would like the judge to instruct Mr. Bayless not to interrupt.
All right.
Thank you.
Continue.
14 games they've played. Zeke Elliott has 6 100-yard games, which is tied for the 2nd most with Chris Carson and Christian McCaffrey. Only Nick Chubb, who leads the league in rushing, has more at 7. But Skip Bayless had you believe that Zeke Elliott was dropped off a cliff. He's 5th in rushing, only 2 yards behind Chris Carson. So in other words, now
5th?
5th in rushing.
5th?
He's 5th in rushing.
He makes $50 million guaranteed dollars to be first.
Okay, well, hold on. Who's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? Is it Jared Goff? Maybe it's...
Is it Wentz?
No, maybe is it Wentz? Is it Aaron Rodgers? Jameis Winston has the most passing yards. He has 30 touchdown passes. None of those guys. So if you're going to base everything on money, those guys are overpaid.
How many interceptions?
Whoa. Hold on. Lamar Jackson makes $1.5 million, $1.6 million, and he leads the league in interceptions. So we're going to base everything on money. Everybody, if you're not Lamar Jackson, you're a bum. Okay, back to my point. Now, yesterday, Zeke Elliott averaged 4.9 yards a carry. Jenny, and people at home, did you know he's had 5 games this year in which he's averaged more yards per rush than what he averaged yesterday at 4.9? But Skip Bayless would have you believe Zeke Elliott has dropped off a cliff and he hadn't played very well.
Is it my turn?
Interesting numbers.
I think it's
Response?
my turn.
Whatever you like to do.
There's one more, more interesting number, and that is he went 5 straight games and couldn't crack 100 for a team that tries to establish the run. At Chicago, he waved out after his longest run of the year. He went 31 yards. Then they gave it to him for 4 and then 2, and it's like, feed the beast, feed him.
Yeah.
Could you?
Whatever, Skip.
Yeah.
All I'm saying. Hold on. What about your guy? How many games had your guy went when he didn't win a game? Dak, was that the quarterback? So you keep talking about Zeke.
Wait, was Zeke hurt those days? No, he hadn't been hurt all year.
But you told me your guy.
Yeah.
My guy is the unquestioned leader. He's the MVP of this team. So you got to be able to do this without
Would you
Zeke.
believe my guy is still 3rd in the league in QBR? That is extraordinary. That is really good. Behind Lamar and Mahomes, that's pretty great.
So
that's high company.
Is he lead the league in passing? Because he was leading the league in passing going into the game.
Yards.
Is he still leading that?
I don't know.
No, not. Jameis Winston is way ahead now. Okay, what about touchdowns?
Way ahead after one day?
Yeah,
Wow.
because Jameis threw for 450.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
big
Good for him.
Okay,
What's their record?
Whoa.
Are they going to make the playoffs?
Whoa, hold on. There ain't no guarantee you're gonna make the playoffs. Okay, you know what they say. You know what they say. Don't burn the money now. The money's in the middle of the table. Don't touch it. If you touch it, you burn the money.
I've loved my team winning
okay.
Philly all year long. I've told you that again and again.
Yeah, my only point is Zeke is not as bad as you're portraying him. So this notion, because Skip,
He is by far the highest paid back in the league.
Skip, you know money is not the basis of whether somebody is great or not.
Well, he got paid for what he has done, not what he is doing.
Skip,
and now he did it yesterday, and I told you, that's the guy.
Skip, if I believe he'll end the season probably. I don't know. He's 100 yards behind Christian McCaffrey, who's in 3rd place. So I don't know if he'll catch him. I think Chubb and Derrick Henry is too far.
Well, I
out
hope
there.
he catches him, because that would mean good things for my football team.
So you believe he can go get 400 yards over the next 2 games rushing?
He ran as psycho as I watched yesterday. he equaled my psychoness on the field. He was angry because he got sick and tired of hearing how bad he was.
No,
Good.
He wasn't bad. No, he wasn't bad. All you got to do, he's like, I'm not bad. I'm 5th in rushing.
I'm going to be wearing that 21.
I'm 5th in
I need
rushing.
to see while you're watching
hold
these
on.
games.
There are not very many times that you'll find a guy that's 5th in rushing when his quarterback up until yesterday was leading the league in passing. That's an oxymoron. Those two don't normally go hand in hand. Normally you be way out in front or you're way behind in the other. And so for Zeke to be that high
I need
up,
it balanced next Sunday. I need 150 from Zeke, and I need 300 from Dak. I'll take that.
I bet you would.
Yeah.
What team wouldn't take
Okay,
it?
I just said
Jerseys
it.
out of the trash.
Yep.
Luckily, Dak's
Give me
jersey,
that
I don't think
21,
that's in
Mama.
the trash.
I'm sorry, I'm wearing it.
No mercy.
So Dak Prescott had an efficient outing against the Rams yesterday. The Cowboys quarterback went 15 for 23 and had just over 200 yards with 2 touchdowns. Dak was also able to avoid turning the ball over and wasn't sacked all game. So Shannon, what grade would you give Dak after yesterday?
I gave him a B. I gave him a B for the simple fact, I
that's huge.
thought he did a great job of supplementing and complementing what they had going on in the running game.
Okay.
He wasn't asked to do a whole lot of heavy lifting, and when he was asked to convert on 3rd down, he did some good things. Skip, I would have given him an A, but I thought he was a little off early in the ball game. Even the touchdown throw, I had the DJ to drop, put a compilation together. I don't really like to do this,
Sure.
Jenny, but sometimes to make my point, I just want the people at home to because Skip has tried to paint me as being unfair to Dak. And you see this right here. Now, he has plenty of time, clean pocket. I mean, he has Amari Cooper. All he got to do is just hit him in stride.
Okay, Amari has to catch that ball. Hit him in the hands.
Skip the man. Look at this. All he got to do is just
Hit him right in the hands. I consider that a drop.
I don't know
no,
who's to
no,
blame.
no, we're not
They're
doing that.
second in the NFL.
Look at this. If he hits him, he comes out the backside.
Got to catch it.
Look at this. Now, he got, okay. You know, they said he got pass interference.
Well, it got canceled.
I'm just saying, but I'm just saying that. Look
He
at
threw
this.
no interceptions. No fumbles.
Skip, I'm just saying.
Okay.
That's just one. I mean, look.
Okay.
They got a hold of
It's canceled.
Okay,
Yeah.
Skip.
Okay.
But here's the one to Jason Witten.
Yeah.
Even the touchdown to Jason Witten was thrown behind him, was it not?
I think he was trying to throw it away from the safety who was closing fast.
Skip, really behind him.
Yeah, he's behind him,
Okay.
standing there.
Okay, so had those throws not happened, I would have given him an A, Skip, but he got a B. He didn't turn it over. He complimented the running game extremely well yesterday. He was efficient, so he got a B.
You give him a B, that's like an A+.
I got tired. I got tired of my pen running. My pen didn't have enough ink to give him an F. Really? I'm about out of ink. I've been getting so many. Yeah.
Like an F minus, you don't have enough ink left.
Oh, well, you know, the past 3 weeks he earned it. You know he earned it, Skip. I'm at Smith Barney. I give grades the old-fashioned way.
Really?
They earn them.
Tough over there. Skip?
He was throwing with a fractured index finger in his throwing hand. Fractured index finger. So is it possible you're a little off because it's throbbing? Is it possible that it's aching? Is it possible?
No.
That he had tape on it before the game and he tried to throw early with tape on and he ripped the tape off and said, it's bothering me. So, again, if Amari Cooper is that guy, the number one receiver in football, you got to catch that ball.
If Dak's that guy, he got to put it.
If you get two hands on it going to the turf,
but see, Skip,
Shannon Sharpe puts that in his back pocket.
You stop doing that. Yeah. But see, this is what I keep telling you. Now, the difference, if Dak hits him in stride, Amari comes out the back door, that's an 80-yard tug. That's an 80-yard tug.
Really?
He comes out the back. Look at this, Skip. He's coming out the back. Split the seam. Amari will hit his head on the goalpost.
I don't think so. With a fractured index finger, that's a pretty good throw. And how about the throw on the first touchdown drive? It's 3rd and forever. It's 3rd and 9. Here we go again from their own 34. And he does throw it to Amari, who caught his only ball of the game. And it was a nice catch because he just gunned it high. But he scrambled, got loose.
You know, Jalen Ramsey's upset because Jalen Ramsey was trying to pitch a shutout.
I know.
Because it was a zone and he uncovered to the open area.
He got lost on it. I would agree with you. But still, that's Dak making a play with his legs and then his arm, right?
That was a good throw.
And I told you, the whole game started off with Dak running for 7 yards, which set the whole tone for their rushing attack, getting 263 total yards. And then my point is, he made throw after throw. He had a big 3rd and 4th throw from the 9 to Blake Jarwin. He was pretty accurate with a fractured index finger yesterday. So I'm going to give him an A- for his effort because he led that team. He got sacked none because he escaped sack after sack. He fumbled none because he's only lost 1 fumble the whole year. And he threw 0 interceptions against Jalen Ramsey and company with Eric Weddle and Aaron Donald, whoever that is, supposed to be all over.
You see what you did? Now, when Dak things do not go well, you talk about the offensive line. You didn't mention nothing about the offensive line. You know, you talk about when things go well, you didn't mention it. My defense. Now they win the ball game. I ain't hear you mention nothing about the D.
I talked about the offensive line to open the show.
No, I want you to talk about him now. I want you to talk about him now.
Okay, he got protected pretty well, but he also escaped a bunch of sacks. Like the one
too.
Okay, what's his name? Dante Fowler. Had him. 56 had him. Yeah. Not Lawrence Taylor, but Dante Fowler. Had him, he escaped, and he fired it across the field to a wide-open Tavon for another touchdown.
Yes.
Way to go. That's an A- effort from my quarterback. Way to go. Thank you.
Okay.
I gave him a B.
Yeah, that's the best you've ever given him.
No, Remember Detroit?
Oh, Detroit.
He had that A++.
Yeah, I gave
F-. I'm good with B.
No mercy.
All right, time for our final topic of the day. The 49ers were shocked at home against the Falcons, who scored the game-winning touchdown with only 2 seconds left in the game. The loss drops the 11-3 Niners down to the 5th seed, and right now would travel to take on Dallas in the wild card round. How about that, Shannon?
That's what I'm looking for.
What is this game telling you?
That's what I'm looking for.
That would mean Dallas is in the playoffs. Thank you.
They're going to Philly. But anyway, Skip Bayless. Look, first of all, it showed me what the Falcons could have been this season. When you have that kind of offensive firepower, Skip, it just lets you know. But look, the 49ers lost the fumble, they missed the PAT, which proved to be costly in this ball game. That last one, Skip, where they're trying to lateral it and Atlanta covers, I don't even count that. Look, the 49ers are still major players. I still believe in this ball club. And it just goes to show you how loaded the NFC is, Skip, because it just goes to show you a 12-14 might have to go on the road to an 8-8 or a 9-7 ball club. But I still believe in this ball club. They're still a solid ball club, and I wouldn't want to face them.
Yesterday showed me how unloaded the NFC is because I believe the Dallas Cowboys can beat any of these contenders, including the 49ers. They are vulnerable. You don't love their quarterback. He's played well in stretches.
Yes.
He didn't play well enough yesterday to pull off or avoid a home upset.
You're right.
So I look at now Seattle's got home field advantage. My team can beat Seattle. My team can beat Green Bay. I know it didn't that one day at Texas, Jerry World, but now it can beat Green Bay.
We know how y'all we know how y'all fare in the weather. Y'all ain't going to Green Bay and beating Green Bay, so stop that.
We're
Cut that
going to
out.
get a home playoff game.
That's okay, but if Green Bay get one of those byes, you're not going there. You're not beating the Saints in the dome because they already beat you with Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, 12-10.
That is it for us.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Jenny Taft. Join us again at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.